Chapter 62:59. The dragon's sword energy flickered, but he didn't feel any dark power. Lin Xian frowned. If it wasn't a curse, what was it? Lin Xian retracted his sword energy. You don't have to comfort me. I can already accept this result, Dong Yingying said with a smile. Although she was smiling, there were tears in her eyes. Lin Xian said, give me a few more days. I'll help you take a look, but I can't stay here for too long. Don't worry, I'll find a chance to let you leave. But you have to wait for my signal. If you leave rashly without my help, the experts of the family will definitely catch you. Through chatting with Dong Yingying, Lin Xian learned that the East Lord Mansion was a very powerful family, and it was an array family. There were countless experts in the family, and there were a few in the imperial capital. There were even a few super great emperors. One of their ancestors was a super great emperor, and his strength was very close to an earth immortal. It could be said that he was extremely terrifying. Coupled with the peerless array in his hands, it wouldn't be a problem for him to fight against 2 or 3 super great emperors. He was definitely an unparalleled expert. Lin Xian was also surprised when he heard this. He began to ask Dong Yingying about other things. For example, how many earth immortals were there in the 7th level of heaven? He didn't ask about the longevity fruit because he didn't want to reveal his identity as an intruder for the time being. However, as long as he could find an earth immortal, he would be able to find the longevity fruit. Because the previous levels were all like this, Lin Xian's goal was to find an earth immortal. Dong Yingying said that there were indeed earth immortals in our world. He was the creator of the array sect, and he was called the array immortal. It was said that half of the array formations in our world came from the array sect. Array sect? Array immortal? Lin Xian's eyes flickered when he heard this. He had found his target. After leaving the East Lord Mansion, he would head to the array sect. At the same time, he asked, did the array formation of the East County Mansion also come from the array sect? Dong Yingying said, part of it is, but the core is not. The core of our family is the Great Circle of Heaven formation. This array had been passed down for a long time, and its origins were mysterious. It did not originate from the array faction. Lin Xian nodded, but he didn't think too much about it. After all, he was just a passerby. He would leave once he obtained the longevity fruit. Rest. Lin Xian sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate silently. Now, the heavenly eagle was already at the initial stage. His speed was much faster than before. For the time being, there wouldn't be any improvement in his cultivation. He planned to cultivate his physique. He had the 9 young divine bodies follow-up cultivation method, and he had made a bold decision. He wanted to use the power of the 3 true flames to temper his physique. The 3 Samadhi true fire was an extremely terrifying flame. Even the earth immortals were shocked by it. It was called the immortal flame. And according to the dream god, this item could only be found in the immortal city. Once they leave, they will disappear. Since he couldn't take it away, he might as well use it for cultivation. Lin Xian felt that if he used the 3 true flames to enhance his god body, the power of his physique would not disappear. Therefore, he decided to give it a try. There are 3 flames in the purple gourd. Lin Xian prepared to absorb the first flame. Previously, the first flame had blocked an attack from the giant elephant, so the light on it was a little dimmer than the other 2. But even so, Lin Xian did not dare to absorb too much. After all, this was a power that could scare the earth immortals. Let's temper my right hand first. There are still a few decades before I leave the immortal city. Lin Xian decided to use the remaining time to temper all the bones in his body. First, he would temper his right hand. Lin Xian set up a few arrays and enveloped the surroundings. Then, he released the power of the 3 true flames. It fused into his palm. When Dong Yingying saw this scene, she originally thought that Lin Xian was guarding against her. But soon, she realized that was not the case. The reason for that was because she sensed a frightening power from the spirit formation. So terrifying. What is he using? A transcendent power. It was even more powerful than a super great emperor. This is a peerless treasure. Thinking of this, Dong Yingying quickly waved her hand and a blue ball of light flew over. She instantly set up an array and enveloped Lin Xian again. The moment Lin Xian took out the 3 true flames, all the experts in the East County Mansion sensed it. The great emperors and super great emperors all turned their heads to look into the distance. What's going on? What was that aura just now? It was so terrifying. Who was it? Did he have any treasures? They all probed. However, that mysterious feeling disappeared in an instant. However, there were still super great emperors staring into the distance. That was the place where the wedding night was. Was it Ying? Don't probe. The strange disease in Ying's body might be transferred in a mysterious way. It was not surprising that she could release a mysterious power. The few experts nodded and retracted their gazes. Let's discuss what to do next. The three super great emperors gathered together. At the same time, there were a few other great emperors. They gathered together. An old man said, "If things go well, Ying's life will not be in danger. Next, she will continue to cultivate in the Dian Circuit Array. When the time comes, we can't lose again." This array formation competition is related to the future interests of our family. If we lose, our East County mansion will lose half of our cultivation resources. At that time, we will be removed from the top families. Our biggest enemy this time is the Han family. I heard that the top genius of the Han family, Han Qianshan, has been accepted as a personal disciple by the Grand Elder of the Array sect. This is not good news. Fortunately, our family also has a disciple in the Array sect. Let's hurry up and find him. The most important thing is to rely on Ying. If she can obtain the true inheritance of the Dian Circuit Array, then our family will have hope. The experts in the East County mansion discussed in low voices. They began to prepare for the next array formation competition. This was a competition that concerned the fate of the family. The night retreated and the light came. When the sun rose, Lin Xian opened his eyes. Then, he was stunned. The array formation around him was not his array formation. He looked at Lan Ying. Lan Ying said that you used a super strong power yesterday, and your array formation could not withstand it at all. In order to prevent the experts of the family from investigating, I added another one outside you. Thank you. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. The power of the three true fire was beyond his expectations. This flame was very difficult to control. He had only absorbed it in the dream of the ancient times. He had never done it in reality. Now that he thought about it, he was too anxious yesterday. If not for Lan Ying's array formation, the East County mansion would probably know that he had a supreme treasure. They would probably attack him. He could not cultivate like this in the future. The three true fire was an immortal fire. Even the land immortals were jealous. He had to be more careful when he cultivated in the future. However, if he could really use the three true fire to refine his body again, Lin Xian's 9 young divine body would be extremely terrifying. Chapter 62-60. In the next few days, Lin Xian still didn't come out. He was silently cultivating. Lan Ying thought for a while and didn't go out because the experts of the family would probably ask endless questions. It was fine for 3 or 5 days, but he hadn't come out for 10 days. The people of the East County mansion frowned. These 2 young people were too crazy. Even if their bodies could hold on, they should come out to meet the elders. Some elders were very unhappy. Those young people gritted their teeth. Lan Ying was the pride of their family, the pearl of their palm. But now, a nobody had taken advantage of her. Damn it, damn it. However, those top experts were happy. This way, it might not be long before Lan Ying's illness was transferred to the other party. For their family, it was a great thing. Therefore, they were not in a hurry at all. They waited patiently. A month later, Lin Xian finally walked out. This month of cultivation could be said to be extremely complicated. The three true fire was too terrifying. Lin Xian's right hand was injured several times. There was no other way. He couldn't withstand that terrifying power. In fact, it was very normal. When he was dreaming of the ancient times, Lin Xian also spent hundreds or thousands of years to absorb the power of the three true fire. Moreover, in the dream, he didn't have any worries at all. But in reality, he didn't have so much time to waste. However, although his right hand was injured several times, once it recovered, he could clearly feel that his physique was much stronger than before. Interesting. This method was feasible. Lin Xian was happy. After reaching the Great Emperor realm, It could be said that it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to break through again. Some people cultivated for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years and might not be able to cultivate a second divine fire and immortal chi. Not to mention that Lin Xian cultivated the power of an immortal. His cultivation was more difficult than others. If it were anyone else cultivating, they might not be able to break through in 100,000 years. However, Lin Xian couldn't wait that long. He couldn't even wait 10,000 years, let alone 100,000 years. He wanted to break through as soon as possible. To complete this kind of breakthrough, he must have a heaven-defying opportunity. And the three true fires were a good opportunity. After a month, Lan Yingying couldn't bear it anymore. She felt that it was necessary to go out. Moreover, she felt that her body was getting weaker and weaker. She estimated that she would die in a few months. Before she died, she wanted to enter the Heaven Divination Formation again to unearth more of its secrets and record them for her family. This could be considered to be the last bit of residual energy. Lin Xian thought for a moment, then followed them out. The two of them finally came out. The people of the East Lord Mansion were getting impatient. A few days ago, they would come over every day to take a look, but after a few days, they had completely lost all hope. Forget it. Out of sight, out of mind. Just treat that nameless person as if he didn't exist. However, on this day, after Lan Yingying and Lin Xian came out, the entire East County Mansion was once again in an uproar. Countless young people rushed over. Lan Yingying was their idol. She was the apple of their eye. Previously, they had fantasized that Lan Yingying's husband must be an indomitable, peerless genius. Moreover, they had to be from a top-notch clan. Only then would they be worthy. But now, it turned out to be a nameless person. Thinking of this, they all looked at Lin Xian angrily. When they saw it, they were so angry that they started to tremble. Lin Xian was extremely handsome and had the cultivation of a great emperor. However, Lin Xian's current condition was not very good. Previously, when he was tempering his right hand, the power of the three true flames was too strong. As a result, his right hand was injured, so he was a little weak now. However, the young disciples of the East County Mansion did not know that. They thought that Lin Xian's body was weak. All of them looked down on him. Those great emperors and super great emperors also came. When they saw Lin Xian's condition, they were overjoyed. Great, he was weak. This meant that Lan Yingying's illness had metastasized. How was Yingying? They looked at Lan Yingying again and immediately smiled. Lan Yingying's condition was very good. Her face was glowing. They had succeeded. Their method had succeeded. These peerless experts were excited. Their families finally had hope again. However, they did not know that Lin Xian was not sick, and Lan Yingying's condition was also faked. Lan Yingying knew that she did not have much time left, so after she came out, she requested to enter the Sky Divination Formation. She also requested to bring Lin Xian with her. When this news came out, everyone in the East County Mansion was shocked. Why? Why should this nameless person enter? That's right, he was not qualified at all. A man rushed out. He was also a handsome young man. His name was Lan Lei, and he was a top genius second only to Lan Yingying. However, even he was not qualified to enter the Great Yin State Sky Town. But now, a nameless person could enter. He was not convinced. The great emperors also frowned. They discussed for a while and nodded in agreement. After all, in their opinion, Lin Xian was a person who was about to die. Although the Sky Divination Formation was their family's strongest secret, so what if a person who was about to die went in? Even if he knew the secret, he could only bring it to hell. He would not be a threat at all. Okay. The great emperors nodded in agreement. No, elder, he's an outsider. How can he go to the core of our family? The genius disciples all exclaimed. Lan Lei even walked out and said, Elder Zhang, please reconsider. He's not an outsider. He's already married to Yingying. He's one of us. The few great emperors left after leaving behind a sentence. The other genius disciples were in despair. Were they really going to let him in? Damn it, kid. If you have the guts, fight me. I'll kill you with one slap. Lan Lei walked out. The other geniuses were also filled with killing intent. However, Lan Yingying said, if anyone dares to make a move, don't blame me for being impolite. At the same time, The aura of a super great emperor came from the depths of the main hall. Lan Lei and the others trembled. They knew that this was a warning from the elder. They could only leave unwillingly. However, their eyes were filled with a piercingly cold light. Brat, just you wait. Lin Xian had been silently watching all of this. He did not have a good impression of the East County mansion. These people had already treated it as a person who was about to die. The only kind person was Lan Yingying. Therefore, Lin Xian was prepared to cure Lan Yingying's illness and then leave. It was fine if the others did not attack him, but if they did, he would not hold back. With Lin Xian's strength, he did not even take those great emperors seriously, let alone these young geniuses. Let's go. Lan Yingying led Lin Xian towards the sky divination formation. The other geniuses were very unhappy. However, there was nothing they could do. However, Lan Lei walked over. He wanted to look for his grandfather. His grandfather was also a great emperor. Chapter 62-61. Lan Lei begged bitterly, and his grandfather finally agreed to bring him there. Grandson, don't worry. I will fight for a spot for you. Lan Lei's grandfather went to the depths of the family. He finally got a spot. He was very happy. This time, the family agreed to let Lan Lei try. The Great Sky Circle formation was at the core of the East County mansion. This place was heavily guarded, and others could not enter at all. Only certain people could enter. When Lin Xian and Lan Yingying arrived, they were also extremely surprised. How terrifying! What a magical formation! Lin Xian's strength was extremely strong. At the same time, he had been to countless places. The heavens, the 9 serenities. He had even been to the land of destiny. He had seen countless powers. However, this great sky circle formation still shocked him. The person who set up this formation must be an incredible expert. Lin Xian even felt that it was a bit like the heavenly master formation he saw in the 9 serenities. Could it really be left behind by a heavenly master? Lin Xian knew that heavenly masters were very terrifying existences. Their formations were extremely terrifying. Lin Xian had seen a heavenly master before, but that heavenly master's condition was very strange. There were also strange things happening to his body. Lin Xian knew very little about heavenly masters. This time, he might be able to learn some secrets of heavenly masters. Therefore, he was looking forward to entering the formation. Just as they were about to enter the formation, a cold snort came from behind. Lin Xian turned his head. Lan Yingying was also surprised. Lan Lei, why was he here? He was not qualified. She frowned and said, "Who asked you to come?" Lan Lei held the token in his hand and said, "I have the approval of the family. The family allowed me to enter this time." As he spoke, he walked to the front. At the same time, he stared at Lin Xian and said, "Nameless person, you'd better behave yourself. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." He did not take Lin Xian seriously at all. In his opinion, Lin Xian was nothing. So what if he was a great emperor? This was his family, his territory. A foreign great emperor, no matter how strong he was, had to bow his head. Lan Yingying frowned. Lan Lei, be more polite. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. However, Lan Lei was extremely arrogant. The fact that he was able to enter the heaven divination formation meant that he had received the approval of his clan. So what if Lan Yingying is a top genius? I am also a genius of the family. Therefore, Lan Lei's attitude became even more unbridled. He also knew about Lan Yingying's situation. He even felt that the family had done too much for Lan Yingying. This was completely unnecessary. Because with his talent, he could completely replace Lan Yingying. Thinking of this, Lan Lei became even more proud. He snorted coldly. "I don't care about people who are about to die. Pa." As soon as he finished speaking, he was slapped in the face. Everyone was stunned, including Lan Yingying, because it wasn't her. The one who did it was Lin Xian. Lin Xian stretched out his left hand and slapped Lan Lei's face. He immediately sent Lan Lei flying. This slap, he only lightly waved, but the power of the 9 young divine body, how could the other party withstand it? Immediately, half of Lan Lei's body shattered, and his body turned into a bloody mist. Even his soul was injured. He let out a miserable cry that made one's scalp tingle. For Ying's sake, I will spare your life. However, if you dare to speak rudely to me again, I will destroy your body and soul. Lin Xian retracted his hand and said indifferently, Damn it, how dare you hurt me? Kill him. Kill this brat for me. Lan Lei screamed crazily. At the same time, many figures appeared around the heaven divination formation. They were wearing armor and holding spears. These were the guardians of the formation. No one dared to behave atrociously here, but now, someone dared to make a move here. The swords in their hands were all aimed at Lin Xian. Lan Ying cried out in alarm. She couldn't make a move. Grandfather, save me. Lan Lei roared. A ray of light flashed in the distance. It was an old man, Lan Lei's grandfather. His expression was extremely ugly. After checking Lan Lei's condition, he was furious. Lan Lei was severely injured. Even though his family had countless elixirs, he would not be able to recover in a short time. It would take at least a month. This way, Lan Lei would not be able to enter the heaven divination formation. Damn it! Damn it! Brat, you are courting death. Lan Lei's grandfather shouted coldly and stretched out his hand. He was ready to teach Lin Xian a lesson. Although he was only a great emperor with one divine fire, he had been a great emperor longer than Lan Lei. In the same realm, he could crush Lan Lei. However, this time, he was destined to be wrong. Lan Lei's grandfather slapped out with his palm, which was like a divine mountain. The void shattered. Lan Ying's expression changed. She did not expect the other party to attack directly. She wanted to stop it, but it was too late. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He clenched his left hand into a fist and punched the sky. Boom! Golden light bloomed, and it was incomparably dazzling. The surrounding experts in armor felt their blood boil. They kept retreating with blood flowing out of their 7 orifices. They were no match for great emperors. Fortunately, they were from a family that specialized in formations. At this moment, countless formations flickered and surged this power into the sky. Are you all right? Lan Ying hurried to Lin Xian's side. Lin Xian had already retracted his palm. He said, It's nothing. It's just a piece of trash. It's not a threat to me at all. Trash? Lan Ying was stunned. The others were also dumbfounded. The person who attacked was a great emperor. This was Lan Lei's grandfather, the 7th elder of their East County mansion, who dared to call him trash. At this moment, a scream came from the front. It was the 7th elder. The 7th elder was stunned. He originally wanted to teach this arrogant kid a lesson. However, as soon as they exchanged blows, he knew what regret was. The other party's fist was extremely ordinary, but it was extremely terrifying. This punch directly pierced through his palm. Not only that, but one of his arms was also shattered. This terrifying fist wind directly impacted his internal organs. He was injured, and it was a serious injury. How was this possible? The 7th elder could not believe it. He let out an angry roar. Lin Xian glanced at him, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. If you attack me again, I can guarantee that you will be a dead man in the next second. Lin Xian did not say much, but his words were extremely sharp. Everyone's eyelids twitched. This guy really defeated the 7th elder. What was going on with this young man? His strength was too strong. Lan Ying was also shocked. Previously, she was not familiar with Lin Xian. Over the past month, she only saw Lin Xian silently cultivating. Moreover, his cultivation progress was not very good. His right hand was injured. In her opinion, even if the other party was powerful, he was only a young genius. He could not be compared to the older generation of great emperors. But now, she realized that she was wrong. The young man in front of her was too powerful. He injured their elder with a single punch. Moreover, the other party's expression when he spoke was as if he was the ruler of the world. He did not take the great emperors seriously at all. Chapter 62-62. Lan Ying had seen such an aura from a super great emperor before. However, it was now being displayed by Lin Xian. It was unbelievable. The 7th elder had gone mad. How dare Suimo threaten him? He had been careless. In the next moment, he roared angrily and his broken body recovered. He said, Kid, you're courting death." He dashed over in a frenzy. Seeing this, Lan Lei's heart was filled with malevolence. Kill him. Grandpa, kill him quickly. He was shocked that his grandpa had been injured. However, he soon shook his head and sneered. In his opinion, his grandpa had been careless. That must be it. At this moment, the seventh elder's aura was majestic, and he was filled with killing intent. It was as if he had turned into the god of death. Lin Xian's face darkened. He had already warned the seventh elder, but the seventh elder still dared to attack him. Since that was the case, Suemo felt that it was necessary to show his strength. He would use the seventh elder as an example to intimidate the East Lord Mansion. Otherwise, these people would think that he was a pushover. Lin Xian's face turned cold when he thought of this. In the next moment, a ray of sword chi appeared in his left hand, and he slashed forward. Boom! The slash was terrifying, and it was as fast as lightning. It could not be described with words. The sword radiance flashed, and the void split into two. The seventh elder, who was flying in the air, stopped. A crack appeared in between his eyebrows, and he turned into a bloody mist. His body and soul were destroyed. He did not even have time to scream. Boom! As the bloody mist filled the air, the array around him kept shaking. Some of the arrays cracked, and a terrifying ray of bloody light shot into the sky. At the same time, dark clouds gathered in the sky, and blood rain fell as if it had turned into a sea of blood. The death of a great emperor and the strange phenomenon of heaven and earth was the same in every world. What happened? Everyone was stunned. The guards who were guarding the array around them started to tremble. They were so frightened that they knelt on the ground. They could not resist the blood of a great emperor. Lan Yingying was dumbfounded. He was dead. The seventh elder had died in front of her. That was impossible. To be honest, she was furious when the seventh elder attacked. She was surprised that the seventh elder was injured, but he would not die. Do you know how difficult it is to kill a great emperor? It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Even great emperors of the same level would not die unless they were surrounded by a few great emperors. But now, Lin Xian had slain a great emperor with just a simple swing of his sword. It was simply a fantasy. Grandpa, Lan Lei was even more dumbfounded. He was so scared that he fainted. He couldn't help but feel dizzy. His grandfather was a godlike existence in his heart. There was no enemy that his grandfather couldn't deal with and no expert that his grandfather couldn't defeat. But now, his grandfather had been killed instantly as if he was a vegetable. The fact that he was not scared to death was already a blessing in disguise. Boom, boom. Not to mention the core area, the entire East County mansion was stunned. Even the countless clans and sects in this space were stunned. They raised their heads to look at the sky. A rain of blood drifted down, and heaven and earth rumbled. This was a sign that the great earth had fallen. Had a great emperor fallen? These people started counting with their fingers. How many tens of thousands of years had it been since a great emperor had fallen? Although the battle between the top clans was incomparably intense, no great emperor had ever fallen. The few peerless experts of the East County mansion were stunned at first. Then, they quickly rushed over. Who dared to kill their great emperor? And it was in the core area. Had the experts of the Frost race come? Damn it! Was the Frost race crazy? How dare they behave so atrociously in their core area? At the same time, they were puzzled. How did the other party get over? Even the super great emperors were alarmed. They tore open the void and came to the core area. Who did it? Where were the people of the Frost race? Come and die. As they spoke, the experts worked together to form a formation. They sealed the entire world. Now, even a super great emperor couldn't leave. After sealing the space, they looked around. But they were stunned. They didn't see the experts of the Frost race at all. What's going on? Who did it? At this moment, Lan Lei. He was awakened by the aura of a super great emperor. He immediately knelt on the ground and said, "Elder, help my grandfather and avenge my grandfather. Kill this kid. He killed my grandfather." As he spoke, he pointed at Lin Xian and roared crazily. What? These peerless experts were stunned. You said that this kid did it? They all looked at Lin Xian in a daze. Impossible? However, the armored warriors also nodded. Everyone pointed at Lin Xian. The peerless experts were stunned. For the first time, they carefully sized up Lin Xian. To be honest, they really didn't think that Lin Xian was that powerful. He wasn't the only young great emperor. Wasn't Qin Yuntian the same? The other participants were also young great emperors. Some of these great emperors were unparalleled in talent, and some were nurtured with pills. However, no matter how strong they were no match for the older generation. There were also strong and weak great emperors. Some great emperors could even stay in this realm for hundreds of thousands of years. The seventh elder had stayed in this realm for tens of thousands of years. His strength was terrifying. He was definitely not someone those young people could compare to. You did it? A peerless great emperor asked. He was the third elder. That's right, I did it. I already warned him, but he still wanted to kill me. Since that's the case, I'll send him to hell, Lin Xian said calmly. He didn't deny it. He didn't think that killing a great emperor was something unbelievable. Everyone was stunned when they heard this. The peerless great emperor's expressions changed. Even if they killed a great emperor, they wouldn't be so calm. You killed a great emperor, a peerless expert. He was someone who could live forever. Do you think you killed an ant? Why did you kill him? Another peerless great emperor spoke. He was the second elder. It was very simple. He killed him with a light wave. One had to admit that he was too weak. Lin Xian shrugged. Everyone was shocked. He killed him with a light wave. He killed him with a single slash. Everyone was stunned. That was indeed the case. Lan Yingying sighed. She still felt like she was in a dream. The peerless great emperors were even more stunned. He killed a great emperor with a single slash. This kid must be a peerless great emperor. However, they carefully checked Lin Xian's cultivation. He was just an ordinary great emperor. Heavens, this is a monster, right? What kind of person did they provoke to come in? The peerless experts of the East County residents felt their hearts turn cold. Why did they feel like they had invited a wolf into their house? Humph. The third elder snorted. You dare to kill our great emperor. Do you know the consequences? You're dead. Lan Lei roared. There were two peerless great emperors here. Lin Xian would definitely die. Buzz. Lin Xian didn't reply. He directly attacked and killed Lan Lei. Pooh. Lan Lei died. Even until his death, he couldn't believe that Lin Xian dared to attack him. Chapter 62-63. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. The super great emperors could not believe it. This guy killed one of their top prodigies in front of them. He was too audacious. Are you crazy? Do you think we don't dare to kill you? The third elder's face darkened, and his body released a biting cold murderous intent. The second elder beside him also snorted coldly and stared at the other party. Both of them were super great emperors. No matter how strong the other party was, would he be able to withstand the two of them together? The answer was definitely no. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Try me if you want to. He did not have a good impression of these people. They all thought that he was about to die. Fine, I'll see what you're capable of. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The power of the two divine fires spread out from the third elder's body. The battle was about to break out. In everyone's opinion, Lin Xian was dead meat. Lan Yingying exclaimed and stood in front of Lin Xian. However, it did not seem to be of much use. At that moment, an old voice came from the great sky divination formation. Everyone, stop and let them in. Everyone was stunned when they heard the voice. Even the third elder's body trembled. His face was filled with disbelief. What? Are my words useless now? The old voice came again. This time, it seemed to be mixed with a supreme power. It sounded like thousands of claps of thunder. Everyone's body trembled. Even the third elder's scalp went numb. That was the voice of the prefecture ancestor. Everyone was extremely shocked. There was a super great emperor in their family. He was very terrifying. He was close to an earth immortal. He was the prefecture lord of the East County Prefecture. However, the prefecture lord usually cultivated in the great sky divination formation. Sometimes, he would not say a word for thousands of years. As a result, he often forgot about the prefecture lord's existence. However, they did not expect the prefecture lord to speak at this critical moment. What was even more shocking was that the prefecture lord was actually helping this nameless person. It was unbelievable. Although the third elder was angry, he did not dare to act presumptuously. He could only glare coldly at Lin Xian, then stand in the distance without saying a word. Lan Yingying heaved a sigh of relief. She pulled Lin Xian's hand and quickly entered the stellar derivation array. The formation flickered and enveloped the two of them. After entering the array formation, Lin Xian was also surprised. The voice belonged to a peerless expert. He could tell that the other party's strength far surpassed the third elder's. Lin Xian wasn't nervous about the third elder. Although the other party was a super great emperor, he wasn't a great emperor. However, compared to Emperor Xingyao and the land of Cangqing, they were still lacking. Lin Xian had even killed great Emperor Xingyao, let alone the third elder. He didn't care about them at all. However, the strength of the voice that spoke earlier was very strong. It was most likely stronger than great Emperor Xingyao. This immortal city was truly terrifying with countless experts. Gradually, Lin Xian was also deeply moved by the wonders of this array formation. The array was mysterious. After entering, it was as if they had entered a magical world. This feeling was like a dream back to ancient times. Magical. It was really magical. This was most likely an array formation left behind by a land of immortals. Old ancestor. It wasn't Lan Yingying's first time here. She was familiar with the place and led Lin Xian forward. Soon, she exclaimed. An old man appeared in front of them. He had a benevolent look. He was the mansion master of the East Lord Mansion. He was also the person who spoke earlier. Greetings, senior. Lin Xian looked at the other party and bowed. The old man looked at Lin Xian and was slightly surprised. The power in your body is very special. I have never seen it before. The difference could be seen from this. The third elder and the others only knew that Lin Xian was an ordinary great emperor. However, this old man instantly saw that Lin Xian was extraordinary. It was indeed a little different. Lin Xian nodded and said, "Other than the power in your body being different, your aura is also different. It feels like you came from the outside." The old man calculated with his fingers. Then, he said doubtfully, "Are you an intruder?" Lan Yingying was stunned. Old ancestor, who is an intruder? Lin Xian was also surprised that the old man knew about the intruder. This old man's power was a little terrifying. One had to know that most land of immortals knew about the intruder. Of course, the people of the first heaven were an exception. They also knew about the Red Flame Army in the first heaven. However, other than the first heaven, the great emperors of the other heavens didn't know about the intruder. Lin Xian didn't hide the fact that he was discovered by the old man. He nodded and said, "That's right. I am the intruder. Senior, do you know where the longevity fruit is?" "What is the longevity fruit?" Lan Yingying was confused. Why did she feel that she didn't understand? Were the two of them talking in riddles? "You are indeed the intruder." The old man sighed. He didn't expect that there would be an intruder. "Young man, take a seat." The old man waved his hand and a pavilion appeared around them. Lin Xian also knew how to use these methods. They were formed by the power of the laws. After Lin Xian sat down, the old man sighed. "I once found some information in the Great Sky Divination Array. It said that there were intruders. These intruders were different from our world. They came from the outer space. These intruders were very powerful. However, they seemed to be looking for the longevity fruit." At first, I was confused. What is the longevity fruit? I have never heard of it. However, I later found out that the longevity fruit they were talking about was actually the immortal fruit. The immortal fruit, Lan Yingying exclaimed. Could it be the legendary divine fruit? Obviously, he had never heard of the longevity fruit. However, he knew about the immortal fruit. Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that the longevity fruit had another name. "Senior, do you know where the longevity fruit is?" "Yes." The old man nodded. Lin Xian was delighted. He stood up and said seriously, "Senior, please tell me." "Senior, if you have any conditions, please tell me. I will definitely do it. Moreover, I will do my best to cure Yingying's illness. The longevity fruit you mentioned is in the Great Sky Divination Array. There are a total of 3 of them." The old man did not hide anything. Lin Xian was stunned. It was fewer than he had expected. However, it was already very rare. After all, the seventh heaven was different from the previous ones. The situation here was much more complicated. It was very troublesome to find an earth immortal. It was very lucky for him to find 3 longevity fruits. Lan Yingying was also stunned. There were immortal fruits in the Great Sky Divination Array. These were the legendary divine fruits. How come she had never heard of them in her family? The old man said, "Don't be happy too early. The 3 longevity fruits are here. Even I can't get them. They are in the deepest part of the array. If you want to get them, you have to go to the deepest part of the array. However, even I can't enter. I'm afraid that other than Earth Immortals, no one else can enter." Chapter 62-64. There was actually such a thing. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. However, he still said, "Senior, please bring me there. I'm willing to try." "All right, no problem." The old man waved his sleeve and led the way. After walking for a while, the old man stopped. "Even with the efforts of the past generations of the East Lord Manor, we can only reach this point. If we take another step forward, we'll probably be reduced to ashes. The longevity fruits you mentioned are just ahead. You can't see them now, but you can wait. There will be a full moon in 3 days. At that time, the array will change. You should be able to clearly see where the 3 longevity fruits are." There was such a thing? Lan Yingying was surprised. She really didn't know about it. However, this secret was probably only known to the patriarch. After all, he had been here for tens of thousands of years and had never left. Lin Xian waited. 3 days later, there was a full moon. As expected, the array was erratic. Suddenly, there was light in front of them. They could clearly see the fruits floating in front of them. It was the longevity fruits. Lin Xian was overjoyed. Since he had discovered them, he had to think of a way to take the 3 longevity fruits away. After all, this concerned the lives of the 3 great emperors of the divine realm. Although he could kill great emperors like cutting vegetables, they were extremely rare. Even the divine realm didn't have many of them. The death of one was a heavy loss. Lin Xian waved his hand, and a sword chi flew forward. However, the stellar evolution array was activated and directly tore the sword chi apart. Lin Xian was shocked. His sword was so sharp, but it still couldn't pass. This was enough to show how terrifying the stellar evolution array was. "Useless kid. I've been here for tens of thousands of years and still can't advance, unless I break through and become a terrestrial immortal. As for you, it's even more impossible. Although you can fight above your level, you're still too weak compared to a terrestrial immortal." Beside him, Camp Blue sighed. Indeed, no matter how strong Lin Xian was, he couldn't pass it. No one understood the terror of the stellar evolution array better than their family. The power of a terrestrial immortal. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. To be honest, he did have it. He had the 3 true fire. Could it be that he had to use the 3 true fire to take the 3 longevity fruits? To be honest, it was a bit of a waste. After all, the 3 primordial fires were consumables. Once they were used up, there would be no more. And now, it was only the 7th layer of heaven. Lin Xian still needed to head to the 9th heaven to find the immortal token. At that time, he would definitely meet a land immortal. There might even be a great war. It was a little too early to use it now. Just as Lin Xian was feeling conflicted, he suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. Who was it? He growled and turned around abruptly. However, there was only Lan Yingying behind him. "Little guy, what's wrong with you?" The old man beside him also frowned. Lin Xian was stunned. He asked, "Senior, did you not sense it? Someone's eyes were on me just now." "Someone?" The old man frowned. He squinted his eyes, and his soul covered the entire area. He then shook his head slightly. "Apart from the 3 of us, there is no one else here. No one from the family would come in. Even if they did, I would know immediately." No, it was not someone from the East County Mansion. Lin Xian did not care about the super great emperor of the East County Mansion, but just now, that pair of eyes made his hair stand on end, and the blood in his body almost froze. Only a land immortal could pose such a threat to him. Could it be that there was a land immortal here? Lin Xian was a little confused. Taking a deep breath, he turned his head and looked at the longevity fruit in front of him again. He continued to think of a way, but at this time, he felt like he was being watched again. Humph. He suddenly turned around. At the same time, he saw a figure slowly disappear. Lin Xian used the heavenly eagle movement technique. His speed was extremely fast as he directly rushed over, but he still found nothing. The old man beside him was surprised. What a fast speed! The other party's speed was not inferior to that of a super great emperor. It was really surprising. This little guy was really a peerless genius. Lin Xian was not happy at all. He realized that there was really someone here. It was not an illusion. He opened his rinnegan. Lin Xian looked around. The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation was everywhere. Sensing this scene, the old man's eyelids twitched violently again. This power was too terrifying. This little guy seemed to have countless treasures on him. Were the intruders outside also terrifying? However, he did not have the intention to kill him and steal his treasures because the old man had spent his entire life on array formations. Come out, I see you. Lin Xian shouted coldly, but there was still no response. This made him frown. He looked at the old man and said, Senior, you have been here for tens of thousands of years. Don't you notice anything? I suspect that there is a land immortal here. Don't talk nonsense. The old man was shocked. He was the mansion master of the East Lord Manor, a super great emperor who was almost close to a land immortal, but at this moment, his hair stood on end. What a joke. If there was a land immortal here, why had he never sensed it? What exactly did you see? The old man asked. A person, mysterious and unfathomable, but it looked like an afterimage. After saying that, Lin Xian turned around and looked around again. But in the next moment, his hair stood on end, because he found that the figure had arrived behind him. When he turned around, his eyes met the other party's. At that moment, Lin Xian felt that his soul had flown away. He was so scared that he suddenly retreated and distanced himself. Was it a human or a ghost? Lin Xian's sword energy soared into the sky, and his rinnegan bloomed. This time, he did not dare to be careless and was ready to attack at any time. The figure in front of him did not escape, nor did he have the intention to attack. He just stood there. You can't see? Lin Xian was stunned because the old man and Lan Yingying next to him looked confused. They didn't see anything. The old man shook his head. Lan Yingying also said, Lin Gongzi, is there really someone here? Lin Xian was speechless. Yes, it was right in front of him. And it was very strange and terrifying. Why was he the only one who could see it? Was it because he had the rinnegan? Or was it because he was an intruder? Lin Xian didn't know, but he looked forward and asked, Senior, who is it? The mysterious figure in front of him did not answer. Lin Xian activated the great dragon sword soul and walked forward boldly. When he took a closer look, he was stunned. There seemed to be some red phantoms on the other party's body, but they were very short. He seemed to have seen this scene before. Suddenly, he remembered the situation in the 9th Serenity. He exclaimed, Are you a heavenly master? Buzz. The mysterious figure in front of him was no longer silent. He suddenly raised his head, and 2 rays of light burst out from his eyes. Like lightning, they pierced through the sky. At this moment, the entire heavenly cycle array began to rotate. Although the old man and Lan Yingying could not see the figure, they were also shocked when they saw the array rotating. The array had changed. There had never been such a change before. Lin Xian was even more shocked. This was really a heavenly master, and an extremely terrifying one. Could this be the master of the heavenly cycle array? Chapter 62-65. Heavenly Master. The mysterious figure repeated these 2 words. His voice was like the beginning of chaos, abnormally terrifying. After Lin Xian heard this, his soul shook. He was too shocked. What kind of strength did this person reach? Was he a super great emperor? Or an earth immortal? He couldn't tell. What was a heavenly master? You are a heavenly master. Senior, you are a heavenly master. I am a heavenly master? A hint of confusion appeared in the mysterious figure's eyes. Then, his eyes lit up. My name is Zhou Tianshi. Yes, that's right. I am Zhou Tianshi. The mysterious figure continued to speak, but the same sentence was repeated over and over again. Other than knowing that he was called Zhou Tianshi, he didn't know anything else. Zhou Tianshi. Lin Xian was shocked. What an unexpected discovery. He continued, Senior Zhou, is this Great Sky Divination Formation your formation? Great Sky Divination Array? What a familiar name. The mysterious figure continued to be at a loss. In the next moment, he actually floated forward. Senior. Lin Xian's figure flashed and chased after him. Don't go over. Behind him, Lan Yingying exclaimed. The old man also sighed. He wanted to stop him, but it was too late. He didn't dare to go forward. If he took another step forward, he would be turned into ashes. Lin Xian felt a powerful force that wanted to tear him to pieces. He roared, and the great dragon's sword soul revolved around his body. He seemed to have turned into a peerless divine sword. Clang, clang, clang. The power of the array hit his body, erupting into countless flames. Lin Xian's qi and blood rolled, and he spat out blood. He couldn't hold on any longer. Lin Xian was about to use the power of the three true flames to block, but at this time, Zhou Tianshi waved his hand and grabbed Lin Xian. Then, he brought him to his side. In the next moment, the threat of the array disappeared. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. This Great Sky Divination Array was definitely Zhou Tianqi's. Otherwise, why would he be able to walk here as if it was flat ground? Nothing happened. It was really great. Lan Yingying heaved a sigh of relief. The old man was also shocked. The array formation that could threaten his life was actually unable to threaten Lin Xian. It was too inconceivable. This young man was too mysterious. However, he also discovered some problems. The other party had said that there was someone, but he didn't see it. However, just now, the other party seemed to have been taken away by a mysterious force. It was as if someone had grabbed him. From the looks of it, there really was a mysterious person here. But why was he the only one who could see it? He couldn't understand. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was ecstatic. He said, Senior, can you take me inside? If he followed the mysterious man, he might be able to get 3 longevity fruits. However, that mysterious person stood there, stunned once again. He repeatedly said, I'm the Heavenly Cycle Master. I'm the Heavenly Cycle Master. No, he had to think of a way to wake him up. Lin Xian realized that Zhou Tianqi's condition wasn't very good. He didn't even know if this was a person or a soul. It couldn't be helped. The other party's cultivation level was too high, so high that Lin Xian couldn't detect it. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian used his Rinnegan to cover the front, wanting to investigate. However, just as he got close to Zhou Tianshi, he was bounced back. The power of the soul couldn't get close at all. No. Lin Xian frowned and pondered. He thought for an entire day, but he couldn't think of a way. However, at this moment, he was stunned. The reason for that was because he discovered that there was a bracelet on Zhou Tianqi's right wrist. That bracelet was carved out of numerous sparkling and translucent jades. This wasn't an ordinary jade. It was definitely a top-grade heaven and earth treasure. There were very mysterious patterns on it. It should be a super array formation. However, Lin Xian felt that it was incomplete. Moreover, he vaguely felt that he had seen this kind of jade somewhere before. After thinking for a long time, Lin Xian finally remembered. It was in the ancient land. That's right. It was the sword in his body. It was the sword world. The sword world in Lin Xian's body was one of the Jiutian Shidi. Although it was broken, it was still incomparably mysterious. The reason why he didn't think of it immediately was because he didn't see the jade, but the mysterious pattern on the jade. Lin Xian saw this pattern in the ancient land Sun Valley. Moreover, this pattern was hundreds of times larger than the one on the jade. It was carved on a huge mountain peak. Therefore, Lin Xian didn't think of it at first. Now that he thought about it, he sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be that Zhou Tianshi had been to the ancient land? He had set up an array formation in the Sun Valley. Why did he come to the immortal city, and why did he become like this? Was all of this a mystery? If Zhou Tianshi was awake, he should have told him. But now, he couldn't. Lin Xian could only guess. After thinking about it, Lin Xian still couldn't understand. In the end, he made a decision. Lin Xian sent a sound transmission to Little White, asking Little White to search inside the sword world. Now that he was in the immortal city, Lin Xian didn't dare to rashly open the sword world. He also didn't dare to enter. Who knew what would happen? Unless it was a matter of life and death, he would only enter. However, there was no problem with sending a sound transmission to Little White. After hearing this, Little White immediately headed to the Sun Valley. The Sun Valley was still incomparably terrifying. After Little White arrived nearby, he didn't dare to enter. He wandered around, not knowing what Lin Xian wanted him to bring. Chapter 62-66. Outside the great universal town, countless people were waiting. They were all experts from the East Lord Manor. Among them, the second elder and the third elder were there. They frowned. That kid had been in there for so long, but he hadn't been chased out. Could it be that he had been acknowledged by the formation? Damn it! How did an outsider like him do it? Many people gritted their teeth. Even the geniuses had ugly looks on their faces. There were two difficulties in entering the great universal town formation. The first was to be acknowledged by the family. Only the top geniuses could enter. Even so, there were very few people who could stay in the great universal town formation. Otherwise, Lan Yingying wouldn't have been so important. This was because the second difficulty was involved. That was to be acknowledged by the great universal town formation. Some of the geniuses had been in there before, but soon they were scared out. Even the second elder and the third elder, the two super great emperors, had been in there before. They came out very quickly because it was extremely uncomfortable to stay in there. It could even make them feel cold all over, as if they were facing a great enemy. They knew that the formation was rejecting them. Even with their super great emperor's cultivation, they couldn't resist it. So, they could only come out. If Lin Xian knew, he would know that it was because of the great universal town master. The great universal town master did exist in the formation. Being targeted by him was absolutely terrifying. However, the experts from the East Lord Manor couldn't see the great universal town master and thought that it was the power of the formation. So, they were scared half to death. Currently, there were only two people who could stay in the great universal town formation. One was the Lord of the East Lord Manor, and the other was Lan Yingying. The only one among the younger generation was extremely important. But now, there was one more, and that was Lin Xian. Lin Xian had been in there for so long and hadn't come out. It was possible that he had been acknowledged by the formation. This made the others go crazy with jealousy. The people from the East Lord Manor were shocked. Outside the East Lord Manor, there was an uproar. The fall of a great emperor would definitely cause unexpected changes. At the same time, a few pieces of news were secretly spread out in the East Lord Manor. The Ice family. This was also a top family, not weaker than the East Lord Manor. It was also a family that specialized in formations. Within the Icy family, there was a tall man wearing blue battle armor. He was extraordinarily mighty, like a peerless god of war. He was the chief of the Frigid Ice clan, and his name was Han Wu. At this moment, there were two figures kneeling in front of him. They were two illusory figures dressed in black, revealing only their eyes. Is the news true? The patriarch of the Frigid Ice family asked. As he spoke, cold air filled the air. He was also a super great emperor, and his strength was extremely terrifying. Reporting to family head, the news is true. The one who died is the seventh elder of the East Lord Manor. Not only him, even his grandson, Lan Lei, was killed, but his subordinates did not know who did it. It seemed to have happened in the core area. At that time, there were only a few people present. The black-clothed man in front of him was a spy sent by the Frigid Ice family to the East Monarch Mansion. After all, the Ice family and the East County had been fighting for tens of thousands of years. The two sides were like fire and water. Great, this is really great. Han Wu laughed. The East County Prefecture had lost a great emperor, so their strength had been severely damaged. They had to win the next array competition. You should go back and continue to investigate. Find out why the elder died. Who did it? He waved his hand, and the black-clothed man in front of him disappeared. The patriarch of the Ice family's eyes flashed. It would be best if they fought in the East Lord Manor. This way, the East Lord Manor would be finished without him doing anything. He told the other members of the family not to go out and focus on preparing the array. According to the current situation, as long as they did not have any problems, they would be able to win. Not only the Ice family, but the other families were also investigating what had happened in the East Lord Manor. At the same time, a huge figure also received the news. That was the Array faction. The Array faction was the absolute overlord here. Its strength and status were above the East Lord Manor and the Ice family. To be precise, the Array competition was organized by the Array faction. It allowed the two families to fight and then redistribute the resources here. Why was the Array faction so powerful? Because there was an Earth immortal here, the Array immortal. Legend had it that half of the arrays in this world came from the Array faction. One could imagine how terrifying the Array faction was. Now, the Array faction also received the news of the Great Emperor's death. The elders were all shocked. The East Lord Manor was probably going to lose this time. The geniuses of the East County Prefecture who were cultivating in the Array faction all asked the elders for leave and prepared to return to their families to investigate. What had happened to their families? The elders discussed whether they should tell the Array faction immortal about this. The great elder snorted coldly. Stupid. It was only the death of a great emperor. It was not enough to alarm the Array faction immortal. No one dared to disturb the Array faction immortal. In the depths of the Array faction, there was a white jade palace. The Array faction immortal was standing in the white jade palace. Her eyes flashed as she looked into the distance. She was very beautiful, incomparably beautiful. But at this moment, her beautiful face was covered with ice. Countless arrays flashed around her. They were like golden lotuses of the great Tao, mysterious. But she did not care at all. Her gaze seemed to pierce through everything in the world and looked into the distance. The sky divination array shook just now. What was going on? It released the true power of the array? Did someone activate the sky divination array? The Array faction immortal was shocked. She found it unbelievable. What was going on? She waved her hand, and the void split open. A figure walked out. It was a middle-aged man with the cultivation of a great emperor. He was wearing the clan uniform of the East Lord Manor. He was from the East Lord Manor and was the sixth elder of the East Lord Manor. The sixth elder told the Array faction immortal everything that had happened. He did not miss any details. A nameless person? No, he could not have caused the array to change. There must be something else. The Array faction immortal frowned. The sixth elder said, I deserve to die. I can't enter the sky divination array. Go back. Don't let anyone else find out. The sixth elder left. Other than the Array faction immortal, no one knew that the high and mighty great emperor was actually a spy. The Array faction immortal's face was extremely serious. Old thing, are you still alive? Thinking of this possibility, a cold, murderous intent appeared in her eyes. Suddenly, the world collapsed and endless black holes appeared. Old thing, I didn't expect you to have a trick up your sleeve. Why didn't you give me the sky divination array? Why didn't you die completely? In the next moment, she waved her hand. Over 100 formations formed around her. Suddenly, a voice was transmitted into these arrays. Attack the sky divination array. The East County was indeed a top-notch family. After the initial panic and injury, they immediately counterattacked. The disciples and experts all retreated. At the same time, one formation after another was activated to kill the enemy. Hundreds of formations flickered with light, enveloping heaven and earth. The two super great emperors roared. Who are you? The black-armored men only sneered and continued to attack. The third elder frowned. Could it be that they were from the Icy Ice family? Were they crazy? The second elder said that no matter who it was, they should all be killed, and not a single one should be left alive. They began to move out in a frenzy. The people who came were also mysterious and terrifying. They counterattacked. They shattered the entire world. However, they were fighting away from home after all, and their numbers were not as good as the East County mansions. The experts of the East County mansion were about to surround and kill these people. However, at this moment, dozens of formations rushed out of the black-armored men's bodies and swept across the world. They were like the sun and lightning, drowning the surroundings. Rumbling sounds could be heard as the experts of the East County mansion were sent flying. They vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Formations, and they were super terrifying formations. Who exactly were these people? Why did they have such terrifying formations? Humph. The leader of the black-armored men sneered. With a wave of his hand, dozens of formations rushed out. There were defensive formations and offensive formations. This time, their target was not the East County mansion, but the Great Sky Expansion Formation. Dozens of offensive array formations rushed toward the Stellar Divination Array in an earth-shattering manner. The Great Sky Expansion Formation shook violently. They were courting death. Protect. The two super great emperors roared. The eyes of the people of the East County mansion also turned red. The foundation of their family was the Great Sky Expansion Formation. They would not allow anyone to destroy it. Lon and Ying, who were inside the formation, were also dumbfounded. A violent aura came from outside. It was definitely not an attack from one or two people. Someone was attacking on a large scale. Who was it? Did they eat the guts of a leopard? The East Lord's face was also cold. Previously, he thought that it was the Ice family, but now it seemed that was not the case. The Ice family did not have such terrifying means, right? He snorted coldly and waved his hands, using some of the power of the formation. He had stayed in the Great Sky Expansion Formation for tens of thousands of years, so he could use some methods. The Great Sky Expansion Formation changed unpredictably. Some of its power appeared and attacked. Don't worry, there was no problem. This formation was extremely mysterious. No matter who came, they would definitely die. The Lord had absolute confidence. This formation was indeed too mysterious. It could even be said that their family was built around this formation. That's right. The first-generation ancestor of their family discovered this formation by chance. He was shocked and immediately established a family around this formation. After countless years of development, it formed the current East County mansion. Did they block it? Lin Xian also heaved a sigh of relief. He had just reminded Zhou Tianshi of something, but he did not expect to be attacked immediately. Was it a coincidence? Or was someone targeting them? It seemed that the situation was more complicated than he had imagined. With a boom, something happened outside. The Stellar Evolution Array was actually being suppressed. The attacks that the Manor Lord had sent out were actually being broken. This was impossible. The East Lord was going crazy. He was a super great emperor and was extremely powerful. When he activated the formation, its power was even stronger. Unless an Earth Immortal came, otherwise, how could they resist it? But now, the other party had blocked it. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. These people wouldn't come here to kill him, would they? At this moment, Zhou Tianshi sighed. She was the one who attacked. She wanted to kill all of them. She was really ruthless. Who? Lin Xian was stunned. Senior, did you remember something? Do you know who these people are? Yes. Zhou Tianshi nodded but did not say anything. In the next moment, he formed a seal with his palm. Immediately, the Great Sky Expansion Formation shook violently. The light of the formation swept out. Outside, the people of the East Lord Mansion were in despair. This group of experts was really too powerful and too mysterious. They could even suppress the Great Sky Expansion Formation. Could it be that their family was really going to suffer a heavy blow today, or even be destroyed? At this moment of despair, the Great Sky Expansion Formation suddenly burst out with an even more terrifying light. In an instant, it enveloped the entire world. The black-armored experts were all swallowed up. Chapter 62-68. Damn it! How could this be? The mysterious black-armored powerhouses were shocked. Get lost! They roared angrily, and the power of a great emperor appeared on their bodies. Not only that, but there was also an even more terrifying array power that swept out. This power was enough to destroy heaven and earth. Even a super great emperor would not be able to withstand it. However, in front of the Dian Sky Circle array, it was insignificant. In an instant, They were swallowed up. The black armored men disappeared between heaven and earth, and the array in the sky was also swallowed up. Only broken cracks could be seen everywhere. What had happened? They had been swallowed up. The powerhouses of the East Lord Mansion were dumbfounded. Did the Mansion Lord show his power? That's great. The Mansion Lord was mighty. They cheered. Inside the array, the East County Mansion Lord was also dumbfounded. It was not him at all. He could not unleash the power of such a powerful array. Who was it? He abruptly turned his head to look. Could it be the mysterious person here? Lin Xian was the only one who could see this mysterious person. However, the other party really existed. Only the other party could unleash such terrifying power. Was this mysterious person the master of the array? He was completely stunned. He even cupped his fists and said, "Thank you, Senior." Dozens of black-clothed men appeared in the Dian Sky Circle array. After these black-clothed men came out, they roared into the sky. They wanted to rush out. However, the array began to bind their bodies. These people could not escape and were completely suppressed. However, they did not die. Lin Xian was surprised. "Senior, why don't you kill them?" Zhou Tianshi said in a deep voice, "Kill them. Xian will know." Who is Xian? Lin Xian was surprised. Is she the master behind these black-armored men? Yu Xian should be an Earth Immortal now. Zhou Tianshi sighed, and a trace of sadness appeared in his eyes. Yu Xian Lin Xian repeated this name. An Earth Immortal. He was extremely surprised. In the next moment, he turned his head and looked at the Mansion Lord. He said, "Senior, what is the name of the Earth Immortal of the Array sect? Is her name Yu Xian?" The East County Mansion Lord's eyelids twitched. How could the name of an Earth Immortal be called so casually? One had to know that the Land Immortals were very powerful. If you are disrespectful here, you might be slapped to death across the endless void. However, he still nodded. In this world, very few people knew what the true name of the Array Immortal was. However, the East Lord Prefecture Lord was one of the few people who knew. He had heard the name once when he had just become a martial monarch. However, he had never called her out. Moreover, he desperately wanted to forget this name. This was because he was afraid that one day he would accidentally shout it out. He would be reduced to ashes. However, he didn't expect Lin Xian to call out this name. He was even more shocked. Lin Xian was an intruder and had never seen the Array Immortal before. So how did he know? After hearing this, Lin Xian gasped. The Land Immortal of the Array faction was called Yu Xian, and she was actually related to the Heavenly Cycle Master. And Yu Xian, actually wanted to kill Zhou Tianshi? Why? Lin Xian was puzzled as he looked at Zhou Tianshi. The battle that happened in the East County residence actually happened very quickly. Although it was intense, it didn't take long for it to disappear. As a result, the other families and sects were extremely puzzled. They hadn't reacted yet. However, in the White Jade Palace of the Array faction, Yu Xian frowned slightly. She sensed that the Dian Heavenly Cycle Array formation was shaking. Then, the people she had summoned disappeared. They didn't die. However, she couldn't sense their auras. Did they enter the Dian Heavenly Cycle Array? It was actually so easy. Yu Xian frowned. Was the power of the array formation weakened? Forget it. Let's wait and see. After saying that, she waved her hand. The void split open, and the First Elder walked out. The First Elder was a super martial monarch, but at this moment, he was extremely respectful in front of Yu Xian. He didn't even dare to raise his head. His eyes were fixed on the ground. He knelt on one knee on the ground. "Greetings, Sect Master. What orders do you have? Didn't you catch an intruder earlier? Bring him over. I have something to ask him." Yes. The First Elder left. He came to an underground palace where many people were locked up. These people had all been tortured. One of them was chained up in the air. That person's body was glowing with an astonishing light. He was resisting with all his might. If anyone else saw this scene, they would definitely exclaim, "What a terrifying physique!" Although he was just an ordinary martial monarch, his physique was far superior to his peers. The First Elder snorted coldly. "So what if you're strong? Once you're here, you can forget about leaving." The next moment, He waved his hand and quickly left with the figure. When he reappeared, he was back in the White Jade Palace. After leaving the person here, the first elder left. Where am I? Leaf Doudinier roared crazily. That's right. The chained figure was Leaf Doudinier. He had entered the 7th layer of heaven with Lin Xian, but halfway there, Violet Immortal's power exploded and knocked them unconscious. Moreover, it was a random teleportation. He fell from the sky. When he woke up, he found himself in a cage, bound and suppressed. However, no one paid attention to him, as if they had forgotten about him. Leaf Doudinier despaired. Was he going to be imprisoned for the rest of his life? But today, someone suddenly appeared and took him away. What followed next was an immortal palace. Leaf Doudinier took a deep breath. Who are you? Why are you suppressing me? Leaf Doudinier roared madly. Even if he died, he had to know why. At that moment, he saw a figure walk out, and at the same time, a strange fragrance flew towards him. It smelled so good. He felt as if his soul was about to ascend. In the next moment, when he saw the figure in front of him, his soul started to shake. The woman in front of him was too beautiful to behold. She was so beautiful that words couldn't describe her beauty. Not only that, but her beauty also carried a mysterious power. It was as if she could make anyone go crazy for her. Leaf Doudinier's face was full of shock, but soon, his body began to tremble. He could sense that this beautiful woman's aura was terrifying to the extreme. This was the power of an Earth Immortal. She was an Earth Immortal. That's great. A glimmer of hope rose in his heart. If he met an Earth Immortal, he would know the whereabouts of the longevity fruit. Moreover, he would be tested next. This way, he wouldn't be trapped here. Yu Xian looked at the figure in front of her with a beautiful smile. Intruder, do you know what this is? What secrets do you have? Tell me. Yu Xian stretched out her right hand, revealing a green fruit in her palm. It emitted a mysterious aura. The longevity fruit. Leaf Doudinier exclaimed when he saw this. He couldn't be more familiar with this fruit because he had seen it more than once. The longevity fruit? Very good. It seems like you intruders know something. Tell me the secret of the longevity fruit. Yu Xian's voice sounded again. Chapter 62-69. Leaf Doudinier was completely stunned. The secret of the longevity fruit? What's going on? The other party was an Earth Immortal. Why would she ask him? Aren't you a guardian? Leaf Doudinier seemed to have thought of a possibility and exclaimed. You're very smart. I really can't bear to kill someone like you. Yu Xian's eyes flashed with a piercing cold light. Suddenly, Leaf Doudinier felt as if he was struck by lightning. He kept retreating, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. The other party was tearing his soul apart, trying to forcefully search his soul. He roared towards the sky, and a mysterious cauldron appeared in his body, blocking the soul. An extreme weapon? It's useless. No matter how strong an extreme weapon is, it can't withstand a single blow from me. Yu Xian shook her head slightly. Indeed, the strength of an Earth Immortal could crush everything. In the next moment, the power of her soul surged forward again. Leaf Doudinier roared and spat a mouthful of blood on the cauldron. He frantically activated the cauldron. Buzz! The power in the cauldron erupted, blocking in front of him like a mountain. Yu Xian's expression changed this time. This was not an ordinary extreme weapon. She seemed to have sensed an extremely terrifying power. How terrifying was the person who created this weapon? Could it be that he was also an Earth Immortal? She was really shocked. In the next moment, she shouted coldly and stretched out her jade-like hand to grab the Celestial Emperor's cauldron. The two collided, producing an earth-shaking sound. At the same time, the other hand grabbed Leaf Doudinier. Leaf Doudinier was indeed very strong and had a lot of trump cards. However, he was still no match for an Earth Immortal. Therefore, it didn't take long for him to be suppressed. It seems that your background is extraordinary. Don't worry, I won't kill you. I just want to know the secret of the longevity fruit. I'll tell you. Leaf Doudinier gritted his teeth and said. In the next moment, the heaven and earth cauldron merged into his glabella. The aura of heaven, earth, and earth appeared between his brows, protecting his soul. He knew that he was no match for her, so he didn't hide anything. He told her everything he knew. Yuxian frowned slightly. The longevity fruit is only used to save the intruder's life? Impossible? You're lying. Yuxian shook her head. The longevity fruit, also known as the immortal fruit, had the power of immortality. How could it only be used to save lives? To a land immortal, this was a supreme treasure. At this moment, there was a trace of madness in her eyes. There's no need for me to lie to you. I can't beat you at all. Besides, I'm just an intruder. As an earth immortal, you have been here for tens of thousands of years. Don't you know the secret of the longevity fruit? There was no secret about the longevity fruit. Humph. Yuxian harumphed coldly. With a wave of her hand, she created a cage that trapped Leaf Doudinier. The next moment, she said sternly, "Throw him into the dungeon." Yes. Outside, the Grand Elder hurried over and took Leaf Doudinier away. Yuxian's expression was extremely ugly. She clenched her jade-like hand and wanted to crush the longevity fruit in her hand. However, the longevity fruit was too strange. Even with her strength as an earth immortal, she could not crush it. How could this be? It was completely useless. Damn it. She threw the longevity fruit into the distance. She was really mad. Over the years, she had several longevity fruits by her side. However, she did not know how to use them. She had tried countless methods, such as cutting the longevity fruit into pieces. For example, swallowing it into her body and silently refining it. However, it was completely useless. This was the legendary immortal fruit. Yuxian did not believe that it was useless at all. She just did not find the right method. Now that she had found an intruder and heard what he said, she was completely dumbfounded. Was the longevity fruit only used to save the intruder's life? Could it be that she had really done something wrong in the past? Impossible. I didn't do anything wrong. Everything I did was right. She shook her head frantically. There was an oppressive atmosphere in the Array sect. Everyone's hair stood on end. The Grand Elder took Leaf Doudinier back to the dungeon and came out. He said coldly, "From now on, no one is allowed to approach the White Jade Immortal Palace, and no one is allowed to provoke the sect master. Do you understand?" Everyone nodded, not daring to say a word. Heaven and Earth Divination Formation. Inside the formation, Lin Xian was dumbfounded. Lin Xian knew that the sect master of the Array sect was called Yuxian. Was she the guardian? Did she have the longevity fruit? He wanted to go to the Array sect. However, Heavenly Cycle Master's next words shocked him. Heavenly Cycle Master said, "I am the guardian of the 7th layer of heaven." Lin Xian was really shocked. The guardians were all Earth immortals. This Heavenly Cycle Master was an Earth immortal. But why was the other party so miserable? Even his previous memories had disappeared. Moreover, the other party did not have the terrifying aura of an Earth immortal. "Senior, how did you get injured? Could it be related to Yuxian? Could it be that the two guardians fought each other and lost?" Lin Xian had learned from the dream god that there were more than one Earth immortal in some places. Heavenly Cycle Master shook his head and sighed. "Yuxian is my wife. It was her who caused me to be like this." Next, Heavenly Cycle Master told a story. Lin Xian was completely silent after hearing this. It turned out that Heavenly Cycle Master was indeed the guardian of the 7th layer of heaven, and Yuxian was just a native martial artist of the 7th layer of heaven. By chance, Yuxian met Heavenly Cycle Master. At that time, Heavenly Cycle Master was already an Earth immortal. Yuxian was extremely shocked. She thought of all kinds of ways to stay by Heavenly Cycle Master's side. At that time, Heavenly Cycle Master was indeed lacking an assistant. In addition, Yuxian was very talented at that time and was completely qualified to be this assistant. Therefore, Heavenly Cycle Master took Yuxian away. After that, the two of them spent time together day and night. Yuxian was incomparably gentle. In addition, her beautiful face was so beautiful that it made people tremble. 10,000 years later, Yuxian became a great emperor. And it was at that time that Yuxian finally became Heavenly Cycle Master's wife. Although the difference in cultivation between the two of them was huge, Heavenly Cycle Master knew that Yu Xian's talent was unparalleled, and her strength would increase very quickly. Sure enough, with his help, Yu Xian only used 20,000 years to become a super great emperor. This was already very heaven-defying. Only a very small number of people with super good luck could break through so quickly. Yu Xian was very confident at that time. In her opinion, she could become an Earth immortal within 50,000 years. However, 50,000 years had passed, and she was still a super great emperor. Another 50,000 years had passed, and she was still a super great emperor. 100,000 years had passed, and her strength was already at the top of the super great emperors. However, she was still unable to become an Earth immortal. That was a crucial step that she would never be able to take. Heavenly Cycle Master also knew that. He sighed and said, "This is your destiny. Your talent and opportunities are not enough for you to become an Earth immortal. However, if you become a super great emperor, you will be able to live forever. As long as you don't leave the 7th layer of heaven and stay by my side, no one will be able to threaten you. You will live forever." This was originally nothing, but Yu Xian was not satisfied. Chapter 62-70. As long as she stayed by Zhou Tianchu's side, there would be no danger. It was equivalent to immortality. This was already very good, but Yu Xian was not satisfied at all. Her ambition was very big. She wanted to become an Earth immortal and truly transcend heaven and earth. However, with the situation at that time, Yu Xian had no chance of becoming an Earth immortal. Therefore, Yu Xian set her sights on Zhou Tianchu. Zhou Tianchu himself was an Earth immortal. Yu Xian wanted to obtain Zhou Tianchu's power and replace him. This was a very crazy idea. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible for Yu Xian to become Zhou Tianchu. However, Yu Xian did it. Zhou Tianchu did not know how she did it, but his doomsday came. He was injured and seriously injured. His body collapsed and his divine power disappeared. Yu Xian crazily absorbed his power and broke through to become an Earth immortal. Not only that, Yu Xian took everything away from him, including his power, resources, wealth, and even his identity as a guardian. Of course, there was one thing that Yu Xian did not take away, and that was the Sky Divination Formation. This formation was created by Zhou Tianchu, and it was a formation that he had meticulously prepared. Yu Xian did not participate in this formation, so she could not break it. Even though her strength had increased explosively and surpassed a super great emperor, she still could not break it. Zhou Tianchu's remnant soul entered the Sky Divination Formation, and Yu Xian wanted to kill it. However, she could not do it. For a long time, Yu Xian wanted to tear this formation apart. However, she failed and could only give up in the end. Then, Zhou Xian founded her own sect, the Erase sect. It swept through all directions. She became an absolute overlord in the 7th heaven, and no one could be her match. Everyone was subservient to her. However, Yu Xian still had a knot in her heart, and that was the Sky Divination Formation. She was very worried that Zhou Tianchu's remnant soul had entered the formation. What if he had recovered? What if he had returned? In the first 10,000 years, she was very worried. However, later on, she realized that the Sky Divination Formation did not change much. She secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Later on, the Sky Divination Formation was discovered by others. Yu Xian was worried again. That person could enter the formation, but that was all. Yu Xian observed that person, and later on, she even secretly helped that person establish his clan and sect. This was the origin of the East County Mansion. After the East County Mansion was established, Yu Xian kept sending spies inside. His goal was to monitor the Heaven Divination Formation at all times. If anything were to happen, she would be the first to know and immediately counterattack. The Heavenly Cycle Master shook his head and said, "I'm the guardian. My mission is to guard the 7th heaven. Although I'm heavily injured, I still can't get out." Unless, the Heavenly Cycle Master didn't continue the story because it was impossible. Unless what? Lin Xin asked. The heavenly cycle master looked at him and said, "Unless you can find the immortal order, at that time, you might be able to bring me out. However, from what I know, the immortal order is very mysterious. It's impossible for an intruder to find it. Even an earth immortal might not be able to find it." The immortal order? Lin Xian clenched his fists. He had to give it a try. And this time, his goal wasn't the order. The heavenly cycle master waved his hand, and the longevity fruits in the distance floated over and landed in Lin Xian's hand. Lin Xian was overjoyed. "Thank you, senior." He carefully put away the 3 longevity fruits. Behind him, the prefecture master and Lan Yingying were extremely shocked when they saw this scene. Especially the prefecture master. He had long known about the existence of the longevity fruits. However, he couldn't obtain them for tens of thousands of years and could only watch from afar. But he didn't expect that the 3 longevity fruits would float to Lin Xian's side. It was really too magical. Next, he had to comprehend the heaven divination formation. However, after trying for a while, Lin Xian shook his head and gave up. He had no choice. His attainments and formations were not bad, but they weren't the best. He wasn't even as good as the East County Prefecture Master. The East County Prefecture Master had been comprehending here for tens of thousands of years, but it was useless, let alone Lin Xian. The Heavenly Cycle Master also said, "Young man, I can't help you much with this formation. Although I was the one who created this formation, from the moment it was born, it was no longer under my control. It can grow and change on its own. Although I can use it, I can't help you. You can only comprehend it yourself." Chapter 62-71. The Great Sky Divination Array was too magical, so magical that it was hard to believe. Lin Xian thought for a moment and decided to give up. He did not plan to control the Great Sky Divination Array. He was afraid that it would take too much time. However, he did not leave this place. He planned to stay here and cultivate. He would continue to use the Samadhi True Fire to increase the power of the 9 Yang Divine Body. In this way, his strength would increase. When he found the immortal token, he could take Zhou Tianshi away. That would be a great harvest. Lin Xian's goal was very clear. Moreover, he knew that he would probably have to face Yu Xian next. He could not do it without strength. Lin Xian told Zhou Tianshi his thoughts. Zhou Tianshi was shocked after hearing that. "You have the immortal flame?" Xian nodded. "That's right." He took out the Samadhi True Fire. When that terrifying flame appeared, the Dian Heavenly Cycle formation started to shake rapidly. Behind him, the expressions of the Academy Master, Lan Yingying, and the others changed drastically. "What is that? Why is it so terrifying?" The Academy Master was dumbfounded. His family had attacked Lin Xian earlier. They were really reckless. If he had not stopped them, it would not have been Lin Xian who was injured, but his family. The powerhouses in his family would have been reduced to ashes. Zhou Tianshi took a deep breath. "It really is the power of immortality. I'm really surprised that you found this thing. Young man, I think that you have unlimited hope now. You might be able to find the immortal token." "Thank you for your kind words. Senior, can you use the array to control the Samadhi True Fire for me? I want to use it to temper my body." Previously, he had spent a month cultivating. However, it was not ideal. "No problem. I can help you." Zhou Tianshi nodded repeatedly. After all, he was the one controlling the array this time. Therefore, he could help Lin Xian. "Thank you, senior." Lin Xian was overjoyed. Then, he sat down cross-legged and began to use the power of the Samadhi True Fire to temper his right hand. Lin Xian's right hand still could not withstand such a terrifying aura. However, it was at this moment that the stellar circulation formation activated, and the power of the formation shrouded the area. Suddenly, Lin Xian felt the pressure lessen. The 3 true flames seemed to have been separated into many strands. This way, he would be able to absorb it. That's great. Lin Xian began to cultivate like crazy. At the same time, Xiaobai was still searching for something in the sword world. He mainly searched the vicinity of the Sun Valley to see if there was anything. He could help the Heavenly Cycle Master. After all, The Heavenly Cycle Master was not in a good state right now. It would be best if he could recover some of his strength. Xiaobai threw out a lot of things from the sword world. There were even some spirit pills and spring of life. However, as soon as these items came out, they were immediately petrified. None of them could be used. The little fellow was so anxious that he stomped his feet. Zhou Tianshi said, "Don't throw things out. These things are useless to me. However, to people like you, it is a treasure. It is better to keep it well in case you need it. You've already helped me. You've helped me find my consciousness and soul. I've already remembered everything. So, I can recover on my own." Hearing this, Xiaobai stopped attacking. He quieted down in the sword world and fell asleep again. Zhou Tianshi waved his hand. He also used the power of the array to recover. Although he could not recover to his peak, he could at least adjust his condition. Boom, boom, boom. Outside the great sky divination array, it was extremely calm. However, inside the array, it was violently tumbling. It formed a terrifying aura. In the end, Lan Yingying and the mansion ancestor could not bear it at all. The two of them retreated. Outside, the people of the East County were still waiting. The previous battle had caused them to suffer heavy injuries. As they recovered, they looked forward to the situation inside. Finally, on this day, they saw their patriarch come out. These people all rushed up, extremely excited. "Patriarch, you have to avenge us." "Yes, Patriarch, someone dared to sneak attack us." "How despicable." "Patriarch, it might be someone from the Ice family. Should we fight back?" Countless voices could be heard. The East County Mansion Master shook his head and said, "Everyone, rest and prepare for the next array competition. During this period of time, I will personally guide you in array formation when I am free." "Really? That's great." Countless people were overjoyed. One had to know that their mansion master had been in the array formation for tens of thousands of years and would not come out at all. Even if they had doubts, they could only think about it themselves. But now, it was different. Their mansion master would give them pointers. This way, their strength would increase by leaps and bounds. The East County Mansion began to prepare for the array formation competition. On the other side, the array faction. Yu Xian'er frowned. Yu Xian'er waited for many days and found that the people she sent out still had not come out. This gave her a bad premonition. It seemed that those people had died. Perhaps I should personally explore the Great Sky Divination Array. However, she did not immediately take action. She was waiting for the array formation competition. This competition concerned the fate of the East County Mansion. If the East County Mansion really obtained something from the Great Sky Divination Array, during the array formation competition, they would definitely use it. At that time, she would be able to see it clearly. Time flew by quickly. In the blink of an eye, there were only 3 days before the array formation competition. The people of the East County Mansion had already finished their preparations. The Ice family was also ready to go. This time, they could only succeed. They could not fail. Inside the Great Sky Divination Array, Lin Xian also opened his eyes. He exclaimed in surprise. His right hand had become even more dazzling. He had already absorbed a portion of the power of the 3 true flames. There were a total of 27 bones in his right hand. At this moment, he had already tempered 20 bones. This speed was really shocking. It had not been many days. In fact, it had only been a little more than a month. However, over the past month, he felt as if he had entered a dream. That kind of state was really great. He knew that this should be because of the Great Sky Divination Array. He even felt that the flow of time was very slow. Had the Great Sky Divination Array touched the flow of time? He was extremely surprised and asked the Heavenly Cycle Master. The Heavenly Cycle Master said, "The Great Sky Divination Array is very mysterious. Sometimes, it can indeed touch the power of time. However, the probability is very small. I didn't expect you to be able to touch it. I have to say, little guy, you are very lucky." Lin Xian was surprised. Was it good luck? He was not sure. Because he had a time hourglass on him. This hourglass was used when he went to the land of destiny to look for E. However, he did not find E. Perhaps this time, it had something to do with this hourglass. But no matter what the reason was, Lin Xian's strength had increased. There was even a trace of a mortal aura. Next, he prepared to leave the array formation and participate in the array formation competition. This was because the people from the array faction would also appear in this array formation competition. Lin Xian wanted to get in touch with the array sect and see how strong they were. After the Heavenly Cycle Master heard this, he said, "Be careful of Yu Xian. Unless it is absolutely necessary, do not fight against her." Chapter 62-72. The seventh level of heaven. Countless arrays flashed, connecting the sky and the earth. This was an extremely vast plain. On both sides of the plain, there were many people standing there. The auras of these people were very powerful. Some of them were even great emperors. They seemed to have turned into gods in the world. Countless people looked up to them. That's right, there were countless figures even further away from these two groups of people. However, no one dared to get close. The people in the front were from the Ice family and the East County government. They were the families that were going to participate in the array competition. Further away were the other families and sects in this space, as well as individual cultivators. However, they were not qualified to participate in the competition. They could only watch from afar. The people from the Ice family were all wearing blue robes and armor. The one standing at the front was a tall man. His face was full of majesty, and there was an extremely strong sense of oppression coming from his body. Countless people trembled. It seemed that one look from him could make them kneel down. At this moment, the leader of the Ice family, Han Wu, looked forward and said in a low voice, "What a surprise. I didn't expect the leader of the East County government to come in person." He was indeed surprised. The leader of the East County government had not appeared for tens of thousands of years. This time, he had walked out of the array. Could it be that he had discovered something special when he studied the Dian array? The leader of the East County government smiled and said, "I haven't come out for a long time. This world seems to have forgotten about me. Today, I'm here to tell the world that I'm still alive and will always be at the top." An extremely terrifying aura rushed out of his body. The entire world shook violently. The people in the distance were shocked. Their scalps were numb. Indeed, he had not come out for tens of thousands of years. There were all kinds of rumors. It was said that he had died. However, the East County government did not dare to say it out loud. But now, he had appeared and destroyed all the rumors. There was no point in talking. Let's fight. However, who are you going to send? I heard that the genius of your family, Lan Yingying, is not in a good condition. The leader of the Ice family laughed coldly. He looked at the other side again. He looked at Lan Yingying because he had heard that she had a strange disease and would not live for long. Lan Yingying's entire body was hidden in her loose clothes. It was impossible to see the expression on her face. However, his opponent's aura was extremely weak. This caused the people of the Icy Ice family to laugh coldly. The East County clan was finished. A great emperor had died. The genius was sick again. He would definitely lose this battle. However, when they saw that there was a young man beside Lan Yingying, they were stunned. Who was this person? It was very unfamiliar. The person they saw was naturally Lin Xian. Someone said, "I heard that he is Lan Yingying's unlucky husband." They didn't care about such a person because he didn't know anything about arrays. After waiting for another incense stick's worth of time, several figures descended from the sky. These figures were even more powerful. They had arrived via a spatial array. Everyone held their breaths. Even the people from the Ice family and the East County government looked serious because the people who had come were from the deployment sect. Lin Xian raised his head and looked into the distance. He squinted his eyes and thought, "Deployment sect, right? I've finally come into contact with this family. I wonder if Yu Xian is here?" Soon, he realized that Yu Xian was not here. The strongest person here was a great emperor, the Grand Elder of the deployment sect. There were 3 elders behind him. There were also some young disciples. Among them, there was a young man who followed beside him. He was incomparably handsome. This made the people of the Ice family happy because this was a genius of their family. He had been cultivating with the Grand Elder. His array skills must have improved by leaps and bounds. This time, they would definitely win. Go. The Grand Elder waved his hand. The young man beside him bowed respectfully and then flew towards the Ice family. He was not the only one. Behind him, several other young men flew over. Some of them flew towards the Ice family, while others flew towards the East County government. The atmosphere suddenly became lively. The people in the distance were also excited because they knew that the array formation competition was about to begin. The Grand Elder walked out and said in a low voice, "The array formation competition has begun." The entire array formation competition was divided into 3 arenas. The first arena was to crack the array formation. The second arena was to use array formations to attack each other. However, it was a one-on-one battle. The third arena was a group battle. They still used array formations. The people from both sides walked up. Each side sent out 8 people. They faced the first round, which was to crack the array formation. This array formation was proposed by Chief Sheng. The Grand Elder waved his hand, and an array formation enveloped the 16 people below. Suddenly, the people inside felt as if they had been struck by lightning. They roared and began to crack the array formation. Lin Xian did not participate. This time, he was only here to watch the deployment sect. However, only a few elders came, which disappointed him. However, he did not know that something else had come. It was the eye of the array formation. It was floating in the void. However, this array formation was extremely terrifying. This was the array formation of an Earth Immortal. It was personally set up by Yu Xian. With the arrival of the eye of the array formation, Yu Xian could see everything clearly through this array formation. What she paid the most attention to was the situation in the East County mansion. While paying attention to the competition, she also kept an eye on the East County mansion lord. The other party had not come out for tens of thousands of years. Now that he had appeared, it seemed that there were indeed some changes in the heaven divination array. However, when she looked at Lin Xian, she was even more shocked. This person's aura was not ordinary. He was an intruder. There was actually an intruder in the East County mansion. Could it be related to the Heavenly Cycle Master? Thinking of this, she could no longer remain calm, because she still had a glimmer of hope, and that was that the longevity fruit really had some secret. However, this secret was very likely related to the intruder. Now that she saw Lin Xian, her face turned cold. In the next moment, she sent a voice transmission and ordered her subordinates to attack Lin Xian. The time of the competition passed very quickly. In the end, the Ice family won. 5 of them broke through the array formation and walked out. As for the East County mansion, there were only 3 people. That's great. The people of the Ice family were overjoyed. This time, as long as they won, they could swallow half of the resources of the East County mansion. In that way, their family would become even more powerful, and they would become the most powerful family besides the array faction. They were very confident. The next competition is a battle of arrays. We must not be careless. The Patriarch said. The young geniuses said, "Don't worry, Patriarch. Lan Yingying, who was originally a threat, will not live for long. She is very weak now." The other genius, Lan Lei, was said to have been killed. The East County mansion did not have any more geniuses. Indeed, the great emperors of the Ice family also thought so. Night came. Lin Xian and the others all rested. Countless pavilions and towers formed by the formation on the plains. Lin Xian was alone in one of the pavilions, quietly cultivating his divine body. At this moment, the void behind him broke open, and a blood-red long saber appeared. Then, it slashed towards him. Chapter 62-73. One had to know that there were many formations around Lin Xian. They were all set up by the East County mansion and were extremely powerful. However, they still couldn't stop this move. In fact, this saber appeared silently. It was really too strange. This was definitely a top-notch swordsman. However, this wasn't the end. The void broke open again, and a long sword appeared in front of Lin Xian. A black longsword was moving at an extremely fast speed. On Lin Xian's left, a thunderbolt appeared. It was a thunderbolt formed by the formation. On Lin Xian's right was ice. It was also a formation. Lin Xian was surrounded by terrifying killing moves. Even a great emperor would probably die instantly. Even a super great emperor could only dodge quickly. Buzz. At this critical moment, Lin Xian moved and a pair of black wings appeared on his back. The heavenly eagle flashed. His speed was extremely fast. In an instant, he left his original spot, and the afterimage he left behind was torn into pieces. Huh. The person who attacked in the dark was stunned. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be so fast. Was he really just an ordinary great emperor? However, after a moment of surprise, they attacked again. They were the top assassins. They came with killing intent. They definitely wouldn't allow the other party to live. Even if the other party escaped quickly, what could he do? Escape from this world? Boundless ice gradually froze the space, while thunder and lightning filled the sky. The long sword and long saber also turned into countless saber lights and sword shadows, sweeping over. This time, even if Lin Xian escaped to the ends of the world, he would probably be hit. Clang. Boom. The saber lights and sword shadows collided with Lin Xian's body, making an earth-shattering sound. The ice froze Lin Xian, and the lightning also swallowed Lin Xian. That's great. The four terrifying powers had all hit him. The person in the dark was delighted. So what if you're a great emperor? Under such an attack, you'll definitely die. Because the person who attacked was also extremely terrifying. Moreover, even if the East County government reacted, what could they do? By the time the people from the East County mansion arrived, they had already left. Is this your attack? A sure kill attack? Too weak. Lin Xian's voice suddenly rang out. Everyone was stunned. Although those people were hidden in the void, they were still able to see through it. However, one could imagine the shock on their faces. How was this possible? They all looked in front of them. Lin Xian's figure appeared amidst the flashes of the swords. All of the attacks landed on the other party's body, but they were unable to break through the other party's defense. How did this guy do it? Wasn't his physique a little too strong? The people in the dark were all stunned. Lin Xian coldly snorted and punched out. Suddenly, the space inside the palace shattered and turned into nothingness. And from this void, 4 figures walked out. These 4 people were the top experts who had attacked just now. 2 9 crown kings, 2 great emperors. Such a lineup could indeed kill a great emperor. However, it was a pity that Lin Xian wasn't an ordinary great emperor. When Lin Xian looked at the 2 9 crown kings, a hint of disdain appeared in his eyes. 9 crown kings, how dare you be arrogant in front of me? He flicked his finger, and a sword chi flew out. You're courting death. How dare you underestimate me? The 9 crown king behind was a middle-aged man. He was furious at this moment. Although he was the 9 crown king, the formations on his body were powerful. In an instant, 9 formations appeared on his body. With 3 defensive formations and 6 formations, Lin Fan unleashed his ultimate killing move. Terrifying energy gushed out. This time, they were here on the orders of an Earth Immortal. The formations in their hands were definitely extremely powerful. Sure enough, the 6 killing formations swept across the world, emitting a bell-like sound. Pooh! Lin Xian's sword chi pierced through the 6 formations like a hot knife through butter and arrived in front of the 3 defensive formations. Then, it instantly pierced through. In the next moment, 9 Crown King's body trembled. He was dumbfounded. How was this possible? He was actually killed in an instant. As for this person, he merely waved his finger lightly. Boom! 9 Crown King's body fell to the ground. His eyes were wide open, filled with unwillingness and despair. The other 3 sucked in a breath of cold air. His sword chi was actually so terrifying. The intelligence was wrong. This wasn't an ordinary great emperor. Could it be that he was a super great emperor? They instantly broke out in cold sweat. At this time, Lin Xian turned around and looked at the other 9 Crown King. This 9 Crown King was a young girl. Her white robes were spotless, and her exquisite face was filled with endless fear at this moment. Lin Xian moved again. With a flick of his finger, another sword chi shot out. The girl in white didn't dare to take it head-on. She quickly dodged. Furthermore, 2 accumulative points methods appeared beneath her feet, making her speed extremely fast. She wasn't any weaker than a great emperor. One had to admit that authentic formations were really powerful. 9-crown king with formations could actually fight a great emperor, as expected of a top-tier formation technique. But so what? Lin Xian's sword chi contained the power of an immortal. These formations couldn't be broken at all. Another unstoppable attack, and the girl in white fell to the ground. Another one died. The entire process had only taken 2 seconds. 2 seconds later, only 2 great emperor assassins were left. The 2 great emperor assassins' expressions were extremely ugly. They attacked together. The 2 of them roared furiously. They weren't the 9-crown king. They were much stronger than the 9-crown king. In addition to their peerless formations, they didn't believe they couldn't kill him. There was no need to hold back. Just a trace of their soul would be enough. The 2 of them roared angrily and rushed over quickly. The man on the left had the destructive power of thunder. The man on the right had ice that sealed everything. Divine flames burst out from the 2 martial monarchs as 20 formations appeared in their hands, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Even a super great emperor wouldn't dare fight them, right? In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian didn't leave. Instead, he smiled. He reached out his right hand, the golden right hand, and slapped forward. Great solar undying palm. This was an emperor-level technique. Lin Xian's golden right hand had been tempered by the 3 true fire. Once it was used, its power was extremely terrifying. Impossible. The 2 great emperors roared in fear. They were really crazy. That was because they saw that the 20 formations that they had created were rapidly breaking apart. Their opponent's golden palm was like the hand of a god. It destroyed everything in its path. What kind of power was this? This was a power they had never seen before. Soon, the palm enveloped the 2 of them. They realized that their bodies had turned into blood mist. You can't kill us. If you kill us, you'll be dead. The person behind us isn't someone you can offend. Let us go, or you'll suffer a fate worse than death. Lin Xian smirked coldly as he held both of their bodies in his hands. He said indifferently, "Did you Xianer send you?" The 2 great emperors' expressions changed. How was this possible? This was a secret. How did he know? The Thunder Great Emperor gritted his teeth. As expected of an intruder. He's really strong. But since you know that an Earth Immortal sent us, you should know the power of a Formation Immortal. Now, kneel on the ground obediently and wait for us to deal with you. Otherwise, you'll end up like your companions, trapped in the dungeon for all eternity. Chapter 62-74. Hearing that, Lin Xian's expression changed. There was an intruder suppressed in the dungeon. Who was it? This time, other than Yi Wudao, the Red Fish Emperor was with him. They were all his friends. Could it be him? Damn it, you're courting death. Lin Xian roared and attacked again. Their bodies had completely melted, and their souls had been shattered. They were completely terrified, but they could feel a trace of killing intent in Lin Xian's eyes. He searched their souls and opened his Rinnegan. The power of the 6 paths merged into their souls and forcibly took them. For example, Leaf Dao Denier was the one imprisoned in the dungeon. However, these 2 didn't know about Yu Xian's situation. There seemed to be some memories in their souls that had been forcibly erased. With another cold snort, Lin Xian activated the Great Solar Indestructible Palm and directly killed the 2 of them. The 2 of them were just ordinary great emperors, so they were no match for Lin Xian at all. Boom, boom. The fall of the 2 great emperors caused the world to tremble and rain of blood to fall. Everyone was stunned. The great emperors had fallen. Who was it? At this moment, the array formation competition was going on. The people of the East County Mansion and the Ice family were all here. In the distance, there were countless spectators. They looked up at the sky with horror. Which clan's martial monarch had fallen? The people of the Ice family were shocked. They quickly gathered the great emperors and heaved a sigh of relief when they found that it wasn't their family. At the same time, they laughed. Haha, it's the East County Mansion. That's great. A great emperor from the East County Mansion had died. This time, the other party would definitely lose. They could even devour the other party. There was another group of people who were shocked. They were the people of the array faction. The first elder and the others' expressions changed. Not good. One of their people had died. The first elder naturally knew about this operation. However, in his opinion, it was foolproof to attack only one great emperor. Therefore, he didn't take it to heart. However, the situation was beyond his expectations. Damn it, who was it? Someone was helping that kid. Could it be the East County Mansion Lord? Damn it, since that was the case, he would directly destroy the East County residents. He snorted coldly and instantly attacked. He tore open the array formation of the East County Mansion and rushed over. However, what awaited him was an even more terrifying formation that directly enveloped him. The first elder was scared out of his wits. This is the power of the Heaven Divination Formation. How is this possible? Could he use the Heavenly Divination Formation? He was in a daze. He didn't believe it. Inside the Great Sky Expansion Formation, Lin Xian and the East County Governor stood there and looked at the Great Elder with a cold smile. The Great Elder roared, "You guys really joined hands. East Lord Prefecture Lord, do you want your clan to be wiped out? I'll give you a chance. Join hands with me and suppress this brat. Also, come with me to see the Formation Immortal. Tell her how you activated the Dian Formation. If the Array Immortal is happy, he might even let you enter the Array sect to cultivate." In the face of such words, the East Lord Chief was unmoved. Lin Xian sneered, "You're about to die, and you're still jumping around here. With just you guys? You want to kill me?" The Great Elder roared, "I'll let you see the formation of our Array sect." His strength was not weaker than the East County Governor's. Moreover, his formation was definitely stronger than the other parties. In an instant, he rushed out. The formation covered the sky and the earth as it charged forward. As for the Great Elder, he quickly retreated because he wanted to leave the Great Sky Expansion Formation. He knew how terrifying this formation was. Boom. In the next moment, the Great Elder stopped. He felt a pair of eyes staring at him. He turned his head abruptly, but he couldn't see anyone. Who was it? "Get out here!" He roared crazily. This time, it was not only Lin Xian and the East County Governor who attacked. It was also the Dian Formation. Only the Heavenly Cycle Master could activate it. The other party was also here. However, the Great Elder couldn't see it. The Heavenly Cycle Master attacked and directly controlled the other party. Lin Xian said, "Senior, be careful. There's a soul seal of a righteous immortal inside. Don't touch it." The Heavenly Cycle Master nodded. The Great Sky Expansion Formation surged into the Great Elder's mind and formed another seal. With a plop, the Great Elder knelt in front of him. "Greetings, Master." He spoke quickly. The East County Governor was stunned. This was a powerhouse who was not weaker than him. In fact, he was even stronger than him. But at this moment, he actually submitted in an instant. What kind of method was this? He also felt his hair stand on end. At the same time, he was extremely glad. Fortunately, he had joined forces with Lin Xian. That's right. 3 days before the formation competition, Lin Xian opened his eyes and decided to watch the formation competition. At the same time, he had another plan, which was to attack Yuxian. At the very least, he had to get the longevity fruit. He planned to join forces with the Heavenly Cycle Master. As expected, the Heavenly Cycle Master agreed. It was time to end the grudge from back then. At the same time, Lin Xian planned to join forces with the East County Governor because he needed the other party to cooperate with him. First, he cured Lan Yingying's illness. In fact, this illness was very simple. It was related to the Heavenly Cycle Master. However, at that time, the Heavenly Cycle Master's soul was not clear, so Lan Yingying would definitely die. Now that the Heavenly Cycle Master had woken up, Lan Yingying's illness was naturally cured. The East County Governor was very happy that Lan Yingying's illness was cured. She was the heir of their family. Lin Xian then told him about the Sky Divination Array. Of course, he did not mention the core situation. He also did not mention the grudge between the two land immortals. He only said that Yuxian would definitely obtain the Sky Divination Array. If they did not join forces this time, the East County Governor would definitely die. The East County governor thought about it again and asked Lin Xian. Lin Xian released some more news, which shocked the East County governor. It turned out that there was another land immortal in the sky divination array. He quickly agreed. Then, the previous scene happened. Now, they controlled the Great Elder. The governor asked, Lin Gongzi, what should we do next? Lin Xian said, everything will continue as usual. You will continue the competition tomorrow. As for me, I will sneak into the array sect. I want to save my companions first, and then I will attack the array sect. Attack the array sect? Even though the Great Elder knew about this idea, he still gasped when he heard it with his own ears. That was a truly colossal existence. It was settled. Lin Xian looked ahead and said, Senior, I will need your help when the time comes. No problem. Zhou Tianshi nodded. However, I can't hurt her. Lin Xian said, you don't have to hurt her. You just need to restrain her so that she can't move. Leave the rest to me. Lin Xian held the purple gourd tightly. He was ready to use some of his trump cards. Outside, countless people were still nervous. What happened? 2 great emperors had died. The people of the array sect even planned to force their way in. However, at this moment, the Great Elder walked out again and said, is everything all right? Those 2 great emperors were monsters. They had a grudge with the East County governor before. At this moment, they were killed by the East County governor. It turned out that such a thing had happened. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The Great Elder returned to his residence and immediately sent a message to the Array Immortal. The Array Immortal naturally knew about the death of the 2 great emperors. She asked, did the plan fail? The Great Elder said, yes, it failed. However, the situation is still under control. Today, I plan to stabilize the East County governor and the intruder first. I will attack tomorrow. This time, I will personally attack. I guarantee that nothing will go wrong. Okay, the Array Immortal nodded. She was very confident in the Great Elder's strength. As long as it wasn't an Earth Immortal, no one was a match for the Great Elder. The next day, the array formation competition continued. The Ice family was full of confidence. They decided to defeat the other party in one go. They didn't even need to compete in the 3rd round. The East County governor was under a lot of pressure. Ordinary disciples didn't know these secrets at all. They even thought that Lan Yingying was dead. However, at this moment, Lan Yingying walked out. Her face was full of smiles, and there was no trace of illness on her body. Today, she was going to participate in the battle. At the same time, Lin Xian also set off. He went to the array sect. Chapter 62-75. The battle between the 2 top formation families had already begun. Everyone cried out in surprise. This battle attracted the attention of most people in the 7th heaven. However, they didn't know that an even more terrifying battle was about to break out. The location of the battle was the Array faction. There was no one guarding the Array faction because their formations were enough to defend against everything. Furthermore, this was an absolute victory. No one dared to come here. But today, a figure had come. Looking at the countless palaces and formations in front of him, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He took out a few talismans. These were all formation talismans. They were given to him by the Grand Celestial Master. These were the formations made by the Grand Celestial Master. With one talisman, Lin Xian's figure was swallowed by the void and disappeared. In addition, he took out another talisman and rushed forward. In an instant, he entered the Array faction like a bolt of lightning. After entering, Lin Xian was still hidden in the void. He began to search for Yi Dao Denier. Soon, he found him. He didn't find Yi Dao Denier, but he found the underground palace. According to the dead great emperor, Yi Dao Denier was suppressed in the underground palace. Lin Xian entered the underground palace. This underground palace was like a cage, imprisoning countless powerful beings. These were all people who were against the Array faction. None of them died. They were captured and tortured here. The disciples of the Array faction held sharp blades in their hands and tortured them. They sneered. Now you know the consequences of going against the Array faction. You will never die. You have to live in despair. Ha ha ha. They were extremely proud. However, when they saw Yi Daodinier, they frowned. This person was also a prisoner. However, they couldn't hurt him. That was because his physique was very strong. I'll do it. This time, an old man walked out. He was a super great emperor. He was the elder of the dungeon and was responsible for guarding the dungeon. Now that he was making a move, the disciples of the Array faction were overjoyed. Great, the elder is personally making a move. This kid is dead for sure. No matter how strong he was no match for them. As expected, a super grand emperor ripped through Leaf Daodinier's defenses. Leaf Daodinier's golden blood dripped down onto the ground, but he didn't even frown. He said coldly, "My companions will come to save me. At that time, all of you will be dead." Companions? Intruders like you are at most super great emperors, but our Array sect has Earth immortals. Forget about your companions. No matter how strong they are no match for an Earth immortal. If he came, he would only be throwing his life away. How laughable. You actually still have such hope. Looks like I'll have to let you experience what despair is. The super great emperor snorted coldly. If you touch him again, I'll make you wish you were dead. At this moment, a cold voice echoed from the void. Everyone was horrified. Who was it? He wasn't from the Array faction. Leaf Daodinier was overjoyed. You're here. He smiled. He knew that Lin Xian would come to save him. That's right. The person who came was indeed Lin Xian. He appeared in the dungeon. His appearance stunned everyone in the dungeon. How did he get here? The old man in front also turned his head abruptly. However, when he saw that Lin Xian was just a great emperor, he laughed. Ha ha ha. Is that what you're hoping for? Just a great emperor. Such a person is just an ant. Let's see how I kill him. Men, suppress him for me. The old man waved his hand, and immediately, 7 figures walked out from the surroundings. These 7 figures were extremely terrifying. Some of them were great emperors, and some were not. However, at this moment, they had a peerless array in their hands, and they had the combat strength of a great emperor. How dare you behave so atrociously here? You're dead. These 7 people were all the old man's disciples. They decided to suppress the other party in an instant. The 7 of them rushed over, their hands shining with extremely terrifying light. As for the other disciples, they all sneered. Not to mention great emperors, even super great emperors couldn't be arrogant in front of them. Boom. Facing the attack of the 7 people, Lin Xian continuously attacked. Great solar indestructible palm. The golden right hand and the power of an immortal erupted together, turning into a peerless light that instantly surged forward. After the explosion, the 7 great emperors were reduced to ashes. They were just ants. Lin Xian retracted his palm and walked forward. How dare you attack my companions? You're all dead. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with piercing cold killing intent. A dragon had a reverse scale, and those who touched it would die. Therefore, none of the disciples of the Array faction in the underground palace could escape. How was this possible? They were all dead. He killed 7 great emperors in an instant. Among them, there were 2 real great emperors. The surrounding people were stunned. The disciples of the Array faction were trembling in fear. As for the prisoners, they were trembling with excitement. Ha 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 ha, the Array faction also has such a day? Shut up. The old man in front roared. He was really stunned. The next moment, he gritted his teeth. Kid, go to hell. He was a super great emperor. At this moment, he attacked aggressively. A purple long saber appeared in front of him. Like an overlord, it slashed out, shattering heaven and earth. Not only that, the old man attacked again. He opened his mouth and spat out a bolt of lightning. It was a terrifying bolt of lightning. It broke heaven and earth. 2 ultimate attacks. The other party should be dead, right? Lin Xian's speed suddenly increased. He dodged the 2 attacks in an instant and arrived in front of the old man. The old man sneered. I'm a super great emperor. You want to fight me in close combat? Stupid thing. He threw out a punch. Lin Xian didn't resist. With a wave of his hand, another array talisman appeared. This was a spatial array talisman created by Zhou Tianshi. It instantly enveloped the old man. Boom. The array flickered and the old man disappeared. Was he teleported away? The disciples of the array faction were terrified. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Not only was he teleported. In the next moment, the old man left the array faction and came to the endless mountains. After he came out, he roared, "Kid, you're dead." He was ready to kill his way back. However, he underestimated this array formation. Zhou Tianshi was an earth immortal. Even if his body was broken now, he was still not someone a super great emperor could resist. In addition to spatial teleportation, this array formation also had another move, which was spatial cutting. In the next moment, space was split into 8 pieces. The old man's body was torn into pieces, and even his soul was destroyed. He screamed miserably and died. Between heaven and earth, the sea of blood rolled again. This time, the world rumbled as if it was the end of the world. Everyone went crazy. Another great emperor had fallen, and it was a super great emperor. Who was it that did it? They were all stunned. An angry roar came from the array faction. It was Yu Xian'ers. She could naturally feel the old man's death. An enemy had come in without anyone noticing. Damn it! With a roar, the entire array faction rolled violently. Everyone exclaimed, "Not good. Get ready. A powerful enemy is attacking." They all rose into the air. Even the power of an earth immortal came crashing down from the sky. Everyone went crazy. Who was the enemy? They were so reckless. Who dared to challenge them? Before they could discover the enemy, an earth-shattering sound suddenly rang out. The ground of the array faction was torn apart, and an endless destructive aura shot into the sky. Some of the disciples who were close were instantly turned into ashes. Chapter 62-76. This power that came from the ground was really too terrifying, as if it was going to destroy the world. Ordinary disciples of the array faction didn't even have time to react before they were turned into ashes. How could this be? Those who were still alive had faces full of fear and terror. Even the few emperor-level experts were dumbfounded. Who on earth was this divine being? It was so powerful. Could it be that an earth immortal had come? But that was impossible. In the 7th heaven, other than their array immortal, were there any earth immortals? The array immortal was also stunned. This power surpassed everything. She waved her hand, and a sword light flew out, splitting heaven and earth. All the void disappeared. Then, she saw 2 people. That's right, the dungeon was already in ruins, and only 2 people were still alive. They were Lin Xian and Yi Wudao. "It's you." When she saw Lin Xian, she was extremely surprised. She had seen this person through the eye of the array before and knew that he was an intruder. However, wasn't he still in the array formation competition? Why was he here? Moreover, the other party had such terrifying power. Damn it, I was tricked. Yu Xian'er's expression changed. The figure she saw before was fake. This was the kid's real body. A mere great emperor could actually deceive her. That was impossible. There must be the power of an earth immortal inside. It was the great sky divination array. That old thing really didn't die. You joined forces with Zhou Tianshi. Where is he? Tell him to get out here. Yu Xian'er shouted coldly, heaven falling and earth shattering. She was really angry. Lin Xian snorted coldly. You are really shameless. Without him, would you be where you are today? Not only did you not show any gratitude, you even tried to kill him. You don't deserve to be human. How dare you be so rude to our righteous immortal? The experts of the array faction in front were furious. They quickly rushed over. An elder attacked, his body burning with terrifying flames. Another great emperor had a terrifying gale on his body, as if he was the ruler of the wind. In an instant, 5 tornadoes were formed. Some people even used hidden weapons that filled the sky. In short, because of Lin Xian's words, the experts of the array faction attacked one after another. Lin Xian laughed. He took out the immortal slaying sword and slashed open the sky. The piercingly cold sword light transformed into countless huge dragons that swept in all directions. After coming out, they no longer used their golden right hands. Instead, they used their super powerful sword techniques. Puff, puff. Boom. All of the attacks were shattered by the sword chi. What? All of them were destroyed. This was impossible. Seeing how terrifying the other party's strength was, the experts of the Array faction were dumbfounded. One should know that if they were to join forces, they would be able to fight against anything. Even if it were a super emperor, there was no way they could be this strong. But why was the other party so terrifying? With just you guys? Rubbish. Lin Xian sneered and used the heavenly eagle blink to appear in front of an emperor. With a single slash, he split his opponent into two halves. Then, he quickly retreated. Another sword strike pierced through another person. In the blink of an eye, the blood of two emperors dyed the sky red. Everyone was stunned by this scene. They frantically retreated. Array Immortal, please take action and suppress this thief. He was indeed a heaven-defying genius, as expected of an intruder from the outside world. But so what? No matter how strong he was no match for him. Yu Xian snorted coldly and stretched out her hand. Her jade-like hand cut through heaven and earth. Even a super great emperor would be slapped to death by this attack. Lin Xian naturally didn't dare to fight against an earth immortal. He quickly retreated and dodged the most fatal attack. However, this palm directly covered the entire sky. It wasn't just the Array faction. The people outside the Array faction also saw it. Heavens, this was the power of an earth immortal. An earth immortal was attacking. The people in the Array formation competition also stopped and turned their heads to look. It was the Array faction. Someone was attacking the Array faction. Who was so reckless? The people of the Ice family were all stunned. The experts of the East Lord Manor were also at a loss. The East County Mansion chief clenched his fists. Lin Gongzi had already begun to move. He secretly circulated his power and waited for the order. Array faction. The huge palm that covered the sky enveloped down. Lin Xian quickly dodged. At the same time, he took out a few Array talismans and threw them out. Those Array talismans erupted with endless power and blocked the palm. However, the palm soon enveloped him again. It was indeed the power of the great sky divination Array. However, it was useless. You were no match for it. Prepare to die. A cold and heartless voice sounded. At this most critical moment, a ray of light tore through the air. An Array formation descended from the sky and enveloped Yu Xian's palm. With a boom, the two collided, causing heaven and earth to shatter. Yu Xian's palm swept past Lin Xian. Lin Xian was pushed back by this force and spat out blood. However, he smiled. He knew that the Heavenly Cycle Master had come. That's right, the Heavenly Cycle Master had come with the Great Sky Divination Array and blocked this attack. Yu Xian was instantly flustered and exasperated. At the same time, her hair stood on end. A crazy light appeared in her eyes. She no longer paid attention to Lin Xian. Instead, she stared at the Array formation in the sky. Her voice trembled. You're not dead. You're really not dead. I knew you wouldn't die so easily. Why? The Heavenly Cycle Master's voice came from the Array formation in the sky. His voice was laced with pain. Why do you want to harm me? You're already immortal. Why do you still want to harm me? The disciples of the Array faction were stunned by this scene. They didn't know what was going on. No one dared to speak. Yu Xian's body trembled. Then, she looked up to the sky and laughed. Ha 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 ha, why? She laughed until tears came out of her eyes. Why? Immortal? Am I really immortal? I'm only immortal because I can stay by your side. I don't want this kind of immortality. I don't want to stay by your side. I want to walk out of the seventh heaven. I want to leave Immortal City. I want to go to a wider world. I want to become a god. I want to be the ruler of heaven and earth. Do you understand? At this moment, Yu Xian seemed to have gone crazy. The others were scared silly. Lin Xian was also silent. The Heavenly Cycle Master sighed. I didn't expect you to be so ambitious. Ambitious? It's all because of you. You have the immortal fruit. Why didn't you give it to me? If you gave me the immortal fruit, I would have become a land immortal. It's all because of you. You didn't give me a way out. So, if you're heartless, don't blame me for being heartless. It was actually because of this reason The heavenly cycle master laughed bitterly after hearing this. His face was full of bitterness. What a ridiculous reason. Lin Xian also frowned. The next moment, he snorted coldly. You idiot woman. The immortal fruit wasn't prepared for you at all. The immortal fruit is only for us intruders to live. You want to use it to become a land immortal? What a joke. Stupid. You little ant. How dare you provoke me? Yu Xian was angry and glared at him. Her eyes turned into a peerless divine sword and shot towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian hid in the sky divination array and dodged this attack. The next moment, he walked out again and said coldly, Idiot woman, look carefully. What is this? Then, he waved his hand. 31 immortal fruits floated around him. Chapter 62-77. How was that possible? How could he have so many immortal fruits? Yu Xian went crazy when she saw that. She knew that Zhou Tianshi only had 11 immortal fruits when he was at his peak. But now, he had 31 immortal fruits, which was far more than what Zhou Tianshi had. And he was only a great emperor. What was going on? Why did he have so many immortal fruits? Could it be that she was really wrong? Was this thing useless for cultivation? Lin Xian sneered. If what you said is true, I can become an earth immortal with the immortal fruits. If I have 31 immortal fruits, won't I become a heavenly god? But I'm only a great emperor now. You're wrong. Admit your mistake. Lin Xian's cold shout sounded like thunder. Yu Xian was so angry that her whole body trembled. Admit her mistake? What a joke. Even if she was wrong. So what? She could only make the best of it. Let her admit her mistake to Zhou Tianshi and make up with him? What a joke. She had caused Zhou Tianshi to suffer a fate worse than death. How could he let her go? She didn't believe it. Therefore, the only thing she could do now was to kill them all. Everyone, listen to my order. Kill them all. Yu Xian's voice resounded throughout the world. The disciples of the Array faction roared and charged over. Yu Xian continued, Ice family, kill the people of the East County Mansion. I'll give you all the power of the East County Mansion. In a distant place, the people of the Ice family were having a competition. At this moment, when they heard this, their bodies trembled. Were they going to attack the East County Mansion? While they were hesitating, the East County Mansion Lord roared coldly and suddenly attacked the leader of the Ice family. You're courting death. The leader of the Ice family roared. In that case, I'll destroy the East County Mansion. He charged over. But at this moment, the first elder, who had been acting as the referee, secretly attacked the back of the leader of the Ice family. Boom. The leader of the Ice family was sent flying. He spat out blood, and his body was covered in blood. He was seriously injured. Why? How dare you sneak attack me? He was stunned. Shouldn't the first elder work with him to kill the East County chief? But the great elder shouted coldly, Under the master's order, we hunt you down. Kill. The East County chief waved his hand and led his family's forces to charge over. The two top clans were engaged in a great battle. Adding on the fact that the first elder had joined forces to attack, the Frigid Ice clan was now in grave danger. The battle between the Array Masters was even more terrifying. The strength of the Array Masters was truly terrifying. Now that all of them were unleashed, it was definitely a heaven-splitting, earth-shattering event. Leaf Dowdinier was trembling, completely incapable of standing up to this level of power. Lin Xian also let out a furious roar and slashed out with his long sword, sweeping it in all directions. The sword was like a dragon, and tens of thousands of dragon shadows swept across, creating countless cracks in front of him. The array formations that filled the sky were all shattered. Yu Xian's expression changed drastically. She didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. He couldn't let this brat be so arrogant anymore. She sent a palm strike towards Lin Xian. At this moment, Heavenly Cycle Master made his move. He activated the Heavenly Divination formation and charged over to stop Yu Xian. He said, It's time to settle some grudges. Old thing, get lost. Yu Xian roared angrily. With her roar, the entire world was shattered. At this moment, she seemed to have turned into a god, and everyone could feel a destructive power. Yuxian was really angry. She said, "You're just a remnant soul. How dare you fight with me?" She attacked the heavenly divination formation, causing it to shake nonstop and its light to scatter in all directions. However, it didn't break. Heavenly Cycle Master said, "This is the only array formation that you didn't participate in. You don't understand the heavenly divination formation. It was born from heaven and earth, and you can't destroy it. If I can't destroy it, then I'll destroy you." Yuxian roared. She ignored the others and focused on killing Heavenly Cycle Master. If the Array Master was destroyed, so be it. As long as she was alive, she could start another sect at any time. In the sky, the power of the land immortals collided, destroying the world. Everyone retreated far away. Kill these two intruders. The powerhouses of the Array Master attacked Lin Xian and the others. Soul Storm. The second elder roared, and an array formation instantly enveloped Lin Xian's head. On the other side, the third elder roared, "Array lock heaven and earth." The endless horizon appeared, trying to suppress Lin Xian. The fourth elder roared, "Myriad thunder array." Suddenly, tens of thousands of lightning flashed between heaven and earth, and each lightning turned into a thunder dragon, sweeping in all directions. This was a destructive power, and it also attacked Lin Xian. The fifth elder raised his hand and struck out a patch of darkness, causing the world to darken so much that one could not even see their own fingers. The sixth elder set up a poison array. Once a great emperor breathed in this poison, he would die instantly. The elders used their peerless array formation, which shocked the world in an instant. The other disciples of the Array Master were all excited. "This time, you're going to die, right? This kid will never be able to withstand it. Our Array Master is invincible." They were full of confidence. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian was still not afraid. He laughed and summoned the great dragon sword soul with all his strength. "With these array formations of yours? Is this also called superpower? Let me show you what true power is." Heaven-defying sword technique. Lin Xian performed his ultimate sword technique, and the power of the gods poured into the great dragon sword soul. This caused the sword technique to change completely. With a slash, it turned into a dragon soul, roaring towards the sky. It attacked the soul array formation. The dragon soul roared with supreme power. This power was even more terrifying than the soul array formation. The other party's soul array formation kept shattering in the dragon soul. When the second elder saw this scene, his face was filled with madness. "This is impossible. How can your soul be so terrifying? I don't believe it." Boom. He retreated as if he was struck by lightning. It was extremely miserable. Lin Xian slashed out again, and it turned into 108,000 sword steels. They soared into the sky, enough to suppress heaven and earth. This sword attacked the heaven and earth lock array formation. The stone steels and sword steels in the sky collided. Those stone steels turned into powder and scattered on the ground. How could this be? Is my array formation broken? The third elder's body trembled as if he had seen a ghost. This array formation was an ultimate technique. He could even suppress a great emperor of the same level with a raise of his hand. But now, it was shattered by the other party's sword. Not only that, he found that the power of the other party's attack was the same as his, and the power was stronger than his. "Is your lightning worthy of turning into a thunder dragon?" Lin Xian turned to look at the fourth elder again. He laughed out loud. "Too weak. Let me show you what a real thunder dragon is." Lin Xian stabbed out with his sword like a dragon flying out of the sky. Instantly, the sword chi on the long sword turned into endless lightning. Then, it condensed into a thunder dragon, an immemorial thunder dragon. Its body was tens of thousands of feet tall, filling the entire void. The dragon head fell, and with a roar, the countless disciples of the Array faction were reduced to ashes. The dragon claw reached out, and with the destructive power, it shattered the thunder array formation. The fourth elder's body was torn into pieces. Chapter 62-78. Lin Xian swung his sword a few more times, and the power of the great dragon sword soul burst out. Every time, it was as bright as the array formation. However, it surpassed the array formation. Next, the other array formations were also shattered. The few great emperors were dumbfounded. How was this possible? Every array formation was their ultimate technique, and they were completely different from others. They were their life's work, and they had cultivated it for tens of thousands of years. It was terrifying to the extreme. But now, the other party was just one person, and he was able to display the same power as them. Moreover, he easily shattered their array formations, causing them to collapse and despair. Some of the elders even died in this battle. The originally powerful array faction was destroyed after the defeat of the few great emperors. How could the other disciples of the array faction dare to attack? They ran away crazily. Help, Array Immortal, help. They could only ask for help from the sky. In the sky, the Array Immortal was still fighting with the great sky divination array. At this moment, she sensed the situation below, and her face was terrifyingly gloomy. Trash, a bunch of trash. Several great emperors with the array formation of the entire sect couldn't do anything to a young great emperor. How embarrassing. Why are these trash still alive? Boom. She threw a punch at Lin Xian. Lin Xian quickly dodged, but he was sent flying by the punch and vomited blood. That's great. The people of the array faction cheered. Yu Xian also heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, no matter how strong the other party was, he couldn't compete with an earth immortal like her. She would first deal with Zhou Tianshi, then divert her attention to deal with the other party. At that time, she would make the other party suffer a fate worse than death. Senior, I'm almost done acting. You can attack now. Lin Xian transmitted his voice. This time, Lin Xian took the initiative to get injured. He wanted to deceive Yu Xian and make her lower her guard against him. In Yu Xian's eyes, he was just an ant that posed no threat. However, this was part of the plan. Only by attacking unexpectedly could he really hurt Yu Xian. Hearing Lin Xian's voice transmission, Zhou Tianshi nodded. Although he could control the great sky divination array now, he seemed to be evenly matched with Yu Xian. But he knew that with his own strength, he couldn't do anything to Yu Xian. It would be difficult for him to hurt Yu Xian, let alone kill her. At most, he could restrain her. If he was in his peak state, forget it, don't think. Taking a deep breath, the Heavenly Circuit Master formed a seal with his palms. The Heavenly Circuit Divination formation changed rapidly and bound Yu Xian. Yu Xian was sealed in a space. She sneered. How much power do you think you can? You won't have any strength left after 2 or 3 more days, right? And I've always been at the peak. Yu Xian was extremely pleased with herself. Damn it, I. With the immortal slaying sword in hand, Lin Xian dashed towards Yu Xian with a look of exasperation. Was this guy crazy? Who does he think he? That's right, just a glance from our Earth Immortal almost turned her into ashes. This time, he would die without a doubt. The disciples in the distance all sneered. A look of disdain appeared on Yu Xian's face. A little ant dared to fight with her. So what if he had a divine artifact? He was still vulnerable. This time, he didn't make a move. Instead, he waited for Lin Xian to get close to him before attacking. Immortal chi erupted from his body like a chain, directly enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian's body swayed, and many cracks appeared on his body. He seemed to be about to die at any time. Little ant, do you know the difference between us? Yu Xian sneered and turned around, ignoring Lin Xian and continuing to fight with Zhou Tianshi. Although Lin Xian's body was stained with blood, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. He had been tricked. The other party was indeed careless. In the next moment, he roared and attacked at lightning speed. He took out the purple gourd, and then, a wisp of true samadhi fire floated out from it. He had 3 wisps of true samadhi fire. He had absorbed some of the first wisp of true samadhi fire, but he didn't use it. He used the second wisp of true samadhi fire, which was at its peak and didn't waste any power. At this moment, as soon as it came out, It instantly turned into a flame and charged towards Yuxian. This scene was too sudden, and no one was able to react in time. Even Yuxian was startled. To be honest, why would she care about a little ant like Lin Xian? He didn't die because she didn't kill him. She wanted to torture him. Otherwise, he would have died 10,000 times. However, the sudden appearance of the flame made her tremble all over. Her hair stood on end. She suddenly turned her head, and her expression changed drastically. This is the immortal fire. How do you have this thing? She was so scared that she turned around and ran. At this moment, she couldn't care about anything else. However, Zhou Tianshi said, "It's too late to leave now." The great sky divination array blocked Yuxian's path. He had been waiting for this moment. "You can't do this to me." Yuxian was really panicking. If the immortal fire hit her, she would be seriously injured even if she didn't die. The next moment, she cried. Her beautiful face became delicate and pitiful. Yuxian was already very beautiful, so beautiful that it could drive people crazy. Coupled with her pitiful state, she was even more terrifying. Perhaps any man in the world would have to live and die for her. Yuxian said, "Husband, I'm your wife. Do you have the heart to kill me?" "I was wrong. I beg you to forgive me. Okay? Let's start over." When the disciples in the distance heard this, they went crazy. They wanted to die in Yuxian's place. Even Yu Wudao roared. He felt that his soul was about to split open. He frantically sealed his soul. Lin Xian was also worried. "Zhou Tianshi, you have to hold on. This is a femme fatale. Stop pretending. I won't be fooled by you again." Zhou Tianxi's voice was incomparably cold and emotionless. He wouldn't be fooled. When Yuxian saw that her plan had failed, her tears instantly evaporated. Her expression became vicious. "If that's the case, let's die together." Then, she roared at the sky. The person she hated the most was Lin Xian. That little thing dared to plot against her. She slapped Lin Xian with her palm. Lin Xian's body shattered and turned into a bloody mist. In the next moment, she used all her strength to resist the Samadhi true fire. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The three immortal chi on Yuxian's body blocked the Samadhi true fire. But in the next moment, the immortal chi shattered, and cracks appeared on Yuxian's body. Then, with a boom, she was sent flying. Her body was pierced through and charred black. She fell from the sky to the ground. As for the ground, it was smashed into countless abysses. Boom! The Samadhi true fire in the sky erupted with earth-shattering power. After sending Yuxian flying, it disappeared like a firework. At this moment, the entire array sect was reduced to ashes. The heavenly divination array was blasted away by the power of the flame. The light on it dimmed, and Lin Xian's figure disappeared. Yu Wudao was far away, but he was still beaten until he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. He looked in front of him, which had turned into a chaotic space. His body trembled. What a terrifying flame. It was too terrifying. This power seemed to be even more terrifying than an earth immortal. Yuxian's whereabouts were unknown. But where was Lin Xian? He looked up, but Lin Xian's figure was gone. Chapter 62-79. The Samadhi true fire was terrifying, and everything in its path was reduced to ashes. The spell formation master, once the overlord of the seventh heaven, was now gone. As for Lin Xian and Leaf Daodinier, they were completely flabbergasted. At this moment, Lin Xian was nowhere to be found. Under such circumstances, Lin Xian was unable to resist at all. Could he be dead? She shook her head frantically at the thought. No, this can't be. Lin Xian can't be dead. He's created too many miracles. Back then, so many experts from the Permitha Heavenly King had failed to kill him. He must be alive now. Leaf Daodinier prayed in his heart. But when he looked around, he couldn't see anyone. Leaf Daodinier was so worried he was about to cry. At this moment, a weak voice came from behind him. Don't worry, I'm not dead yet. Leaf Daodinier's soul trembled, and he spun around. A moment later, he exclaimed, Great. You're not dead? That's great. That's really great. There was no mistaking it. The figure behind him was Lin Xian. Lin Xian was covered in blood, and his face was as pale as a sheet. But he was still alive, which made Leaf Doudinier happy. Leaf Doudinier was shocked. How did you get out? Why didn't I feel anything? Lin Xian said, It's a death substitution talisman. Senior Heavenly Master gave it to me. Yes, it was a death substitution talisman. Before making his move, Lin Xian had planned everything, including how to control the Grand Elder, how to save Leaf Doudinier, and how to kill Yu Xian. The most important thing was to make Yu Xian careless, to make her ignore Lin Xian. That would give Lin Xian a chance to succeed. The process was incredibly dangerous. Even if Lin Xian succeeded, Yu Xian could easily turn Lin Xian into ashes with a single slap. In order to deal with Yu Xian's power, the Heavenly Master had created many spell formations. One of them was a death substitution formation. This was the most important step, and Lin Xian didn't want to die. With this formation, he could carry out his plan with peace of mind. As expected, when Yu Xian wanted to kill him, Lin Xian had already activated the array formation. Therefore, he dodged the attack. Senior, we've taken revenge. We've succeeded. Lin Xian looked at the sky and said with a smile. The Heavenly Cycle Master landed with the Heavenly Cycle Divination Array floating beside him. At this moment, he seemed to have fused with the entire formation. However, he didn't smile. Instead, there was a hint of sadness. So what if he succeeded? So what if he got his revenge? After all, this was the woman he once loved the most. He didn't feel the joy of revenge. In the end, he sighed. Sigh, damn it. How dare you put me in such a difficult position? All of you deserve to die. At this moment, an intermittent voice was heard. Yu Xian actually floated up from the rubble in front of them. His injuries were very serious. Half of his body was charred black, and there was a bloody hole in his body. His internal organs were gone, and there was not a single part of his body that was intact. However, he was still alive. It couldn't be helped. She was a land immortal. She was too powerful. Her life force was practically immortal. How could this be? He was actually still alive. Yi Wudao was shocked. He was stunned. How terrifying was that attack just now? But the other party actually didn't die. Lin Xian frowned tightly. He didn't die? To be honest, he wasn't surprised. When he obtained the 3 True Fire, he knew that the 3 True Fire was infinitely powerful. A single 3 True Fire could severely injure a land immortal, but it wasn't certain whether it could kill a land immortal. Now, it seemed that it was very difficult for a single 3 True Fire to kill a land immortal. But so what? In Yu Xian's current state, she was even worse than the Heavenly Cycle Master. How much strength could she exert? Senior, continue to attack and completely suppress her. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He endured the pain in his body and walked over. The great dragon sword soul appeared, and the Rinnegan erupted. Lin Xian wanted to continue fighting. The Heavenly Cycle Master nodded. I can't let you go out and harm others anymore. I'll suppress you. You should reflect on yourself. The Heavenly Cycle Master controlled the formation and rushed over. Suppress me? Dream on. What right do you have? Yu Xian roared. She even wanted to fight back. Although she was severely injured, she could still kill Lin Xian. To be honest, the person she hated the most now was Lin Xian. A little ant had caused her to be severely injured. Not only that, this little ant actually didn't die and was still alive and kicking. Unforgivable. The immortal energy on her body quickly condensed. She was really miserable. Her immortal energy had already been shattered into pieces. However, its power still surpassed everything. You want to attack me? Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, he took out the purple gourd again. The immortal energy emerged from it. How could this be? Yu Xian was terrified. The other party still had that immortal flame. She turned around and fled at an extremely fast speed. Lin Xian refused to give up. In the end, Yu Xian gritted her teeth and waved her hand. 8 rays of light flew out from her body and flew in all directions. These were 8 longevity fruits. She wanted to use these fruits to lure the other party away. Sure enough, when Lin Xian saw the longevity fruits, he was stunned and stopped for a moment. At this moment, the immortal energy on Yu Xian's body completely burned. In the next moment, it tore open the void and disappeared completely. Damn it, I let her run away. Don't chase. Zhou Tianshi stopped. Lin Xian was stunned. Senior, why? Zhou Tianshi said that you are only a great emperor and can't sense it. Chapter 6280. The Array faction had been reduced to ashes. This news immediately spread throughout the seventh heaven. Everyone was dumbfounded. In their eyes, the Array faction was a supreme overlord. It was the place they yearned for. With an Earth immortal there, it was impossible for it to be destroyed. But now, the Array faction was gone. There was only a ruin. Even though they were separated by an endless distance, they were still able to sense that destructive power. Everyone trembled in fear. Who was it? Who destroyed the Array faction? Where was the Array immortal? Could it be that he had also died? Heavens, even the Array immortal was defeated. This person's strength was above that of an Earth immortal. Everyone was terrified and desperate. In the Array formation competition, the people of the Ice family were all trembling in fear. The Ice family leader was also kneeling on the ground. Previously, he had been severely injured by the two super great emperors. He was not far from death. However, he could still escape if he wanted to. He did not escape. Instead, he waited for another battle. As long as the Array faction won, the East Lord Mansion would definitely die. However, the result was completely different from what he had imagined. Not only did the Array faction not win, but they were also reduced to ashes. How could this be? Who was behind the East County Mansion? Even the people of the East County Mansion could not believe it. They were absolutely determined to die. After all, offending the Array faction would result in a miserable outcome. However, the current situation was like a dream. Even the Mansion Lord was trembling with excitement. He did it. Lin Gongzi really did it. This time, he had made the right bet. He laughed loudly. Destroy the Ice family. The first elder also roared. He was now Zhou Tianshi's servant. At this moment, he was definitely going crazy. Under the joint efforts of the two of them, the Ice family leader was forced to retreat. The Ice family leader was already scared out of his wits. He did not dare to fight anymore. He turned around and fled. However, he was too seriously injured. In the end, he was killed by the two of them. With the death of the family leader, the Ice family was immediately defeated. A top formation family was destroyed just like that. The leader of the East County was excited. After destroying the Ice family, they would be twice as strong as they were now. Just thinking about it made them excited. Of course, they didn't dare to act rashly. The East County Mansion chief said, "Everyone, listen up. Without my permission, no one is allowed to touch any of the treasures of the Ice family." He wanted to leave it for Lin Xian. He could only take it if Lin Xian gave it to him. Lin Xian didn't give it to him, so he didn't even dare to look at it. After all, Lin Xian had just destroyed the Array sect. If he wanted to destroy the East County Mansion, it would be a piece of cake. The Array sect was now in ruins. Lin Xian stood there, his face pale. Looking at the surrounding nothingness, he sighed. What a pity. This is a sect established by a land immortal. How many treasures were there? That number was definitely beyond imagination. But now, everything was gone. That was because the three true flames were too domineering. One strike was enough to destroy everything. However, he did not regret it. This time, he was able to defeat Yu Xian because of the three true flames. Let's go. Lin Xian had already obtained the remaining 8 longevity fruits. It was time to leave. He looked at Zhou Tianshi and said, "Senior, I have taken my revenge. Yu Xian is no longer a threat. Next, you can start a new sect." "No, I'm tired of it." Zhou Tianshi shook his head. However, he still looked at Lin Xian and said, "Don't be in a hurry to leave. Wait here for a few more days. This time, not only did you hurt Yu Xian, but I'm afraid that the land immortal behind her won't let you go. I'll make a few more arrays for you, so that you can protect your life on the road." "Thank you, Senior." Lin Xian was delighted. The arrays given to him by a land immortal were definitely terrifying. Then, Lin Xian and Yi Wudao left. They went to the battlefield of the array competition. The people of the East County Mansion were still waiting. "Greetings, Lin Gongzi." When the East County Mansion chief saw Lin Xian, he quickly led his people to bow. Lin Xian waved his hand and said, "What about the Ice family?" The East County Mansion chief said, "The patriarch of the Ice family has been killed, and the others have been suppressed. As for the resources and treasures of the Ice family, we didn't dare to touch them. We waited for Lin Gongzi to decide." Lin Xian nodded, and the corners of his mouth curled up. This East County chief was very sensible. He said, "We will take some cultivation resources. As for the rest, we won't take them. Also, the East County Mansion can swallow the Ice family." "Thank you, Lin Gongzi." The East County Mansion chief was excited. Then, he split his men into two groups. One of them was for Lan Yingying to bring her men back to the clan. Lan Yingying returned with Lan Yingying and took out all the cultivation resources and top-grade treasures in the family and gave them to Lin Xian. After that, he personally took Lin Xian to the Frigid Ice Clan to collect their treasures. The harvest this time was really bountiful. Yi Wudao was dumbfounded because the number of treasures this time was beyond their expectations. It was piled up like a mountain. After Lin Xian saw it, he couldn't help but think, if the Array sect hadn't been destroyed, how many treasures would there be? The number of treasures would probably be 10 times more than this. Forget it. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. After splitting the resources and medicinal pills with Leaf Dao Denier, Lin Xian left. The East County Mansion chief originally thought that Lin Xian would go back to the family with him. However, he didn't. Lin Xian didn't go back to the East County Mansion. Instead, he went to the ruins of the Array sect. Not only him, but Zhou Tianshi also didn't go back. The Great Sky Divination Array had completely left the East County Mansion. In the future, he would never go back. The people of the East County Mansion sighed. However, they didn't dare to say anything, because they knew that there was a kind of earth immortal in the array that they couldn't provoke. Moreover, although they didn't have the Great Sky Divination Array, they could still swallow the Ice family. It was a huge harvest. In the following time, Lin Xian and Yi Wudao began to cultivate. Lin Xian continued to enter the Great Sky Divination Array and activated the Samadhi True Fire to temper his golden right hand. Previously, he had already tempered 20 bones. This time, he completely tempered his entire right hand. The golden right hand that formed him became even more terrifying than before. Yi Wudao also obtained a huge amount of resources. These were the resources that the Ice family and the East County Mansion had gathered for tens of thousands of years. Therefore, he immediately began to cultivate the Heaven and Earth Order. A mysterious immortal king phantom surrounded his body, as if it had traveled through time and space. Just as the two of them were cultivating, in a desolate and dilapidated land of the seventh heaven, there was a beautiful figure hiding there. It was Yu Xian. Yu Xian's injuries were really too serious. She was even thinking, between her injuries and the Heavenly Cycle Master's injuries, which one was more serious? She didn't know. However, she finally tasted Zhou Tianchi's pain. It was worse than death. "Damn it, little ant, I won't let you off." There was only one figure in Yu Xian's eyes, and that was Lin Xian. It was all because of this kid that she was so seriously injured. She wanted revenge. She had to take revenge. Thinking of this, she took out an item. It was a purple bead. Then, she crushed it. Chapter 62-81. The purple bead was extremely mysterious and emitted a trace of coldness. She wondered what it was made of. After it was crushed, the light scattered in all directions. Then, it formed a purple vortex. This vortex seemed to connect heaven and earth. At the same time, a very unexpected voice came from the vortex. "Why did you contact me at this time? Didn't you say not to contact me if there was no special reason?" Don't you know that crossing heaven and earth is a very dangerous thing? A voice came from inside. It was a cold voice. It was a woman's voice, but it was like a knife, making one's bones tremble. I lost. I'm seriously injured. Zhou Tianshi didn't die. Yu Xian said 2 sentences. A cry of surprise came from behind the vortex. That's impossible. Then, there was a long silence. What was going on? Yu Xian quickly recounted everything that she knew. After hearing this, the figure behind the vortex was even more shocked. You're saying that a young great emperor defeated you? Yu Xian, you're really useless. I spent so much effort to cultivate you, but I didn't expect you to be so useless. I'm so angry. I want to slap you to death now. Feeling the killing intent from the vortex, Yu Xian was terrified. She said, "You can't do this to me. There's a reason why I lost. He has the immortal fire. How can I resist it? Moreover, that kid is cunning and despicable. Previously, he had pretended to be pitifully weak, and only then did he launch an unexpected attack. It's useless for you to explain. Do you know that the thing I asked you to do will happen soon? This is very important to me. It can even completely change your fate. But you idiot, you're seriously injured now. Even if I cross heaven and earth to save you, you won't be able to recover in a short time." The voice in the vortex was exasperated. Yu Xian asked, "What is it?" She was indeed very confused. That's right. Back then, she plotted against Zhou Tianshi with the help of other Earth Immortals. This Earth Immortal was very powerful. He wasn't at the 7th level of heaven, but it didn't matter. The other party offered very generous conditions. As long as Yu Xian cooperated to kill Zhou Tianshi, the other party would help Yu Xian become an Earth Immortal who once controlled the 7th heaven and became the new guardian. Of course, what Yu Xian had to do was to do something for him at the crucial moment. But what exactly was it? The other party didn't say anything, only telling Yu Xian to wait. Therefore, this wait lasted for tens of thousands of years. Yu Xian had almost forgotten. Who would have thought that the other party would bring it up again? Furthermore, this would happen very soon. What was going on? Was it related to the 7th layer of heaven? It had nothing to do with the 7th layer of heaven. It was a matter of the 8th layer of heaven. The voice behind the vortex sounded again. She seemed to be suppressing her anger. Gritting his teeth, he asked, "Other than you, do you have any disciples?" Super great emperors, preferably younger and more powerful. It used to be there, but it's gone now. Yu Xian sighed. She was extremely vexed, because the entire array sect had been annihilated. All of her savings and painstaking efforts had been annihilated. Idiot! Idiot! The woman in the vortex roared again. Traces of terrifying power even appeared, causing the surrounding sky and earth to shatter. Yu Xian's face turned even paler. She was now panicking. Would the other party kill her out of anger? However, the other party still didn't appear, which made her secretly relieved. After a while, the voice in the vortex sounded again. "Give me the information of the intruder you mentioned." Yu Xian hurriedly gave Lin Xian's information to the other party, including the unique skills, power, and appearance that he was good at. All of it was transmitted to the purple vortex. Then, the purple vortex disappeared. Yu Xian was dumbfounded. Was it over just like that? She had summoned him because she wanted him to help her recover and avenge her. However, the other party didn't do anything. She was like a little kitten that had been abandoned by someone. At this moment, Yu Xian became extremely lonely and weak. She was afraid that Lin Xian would come after her, but she was even more afraid that Zhou Tianshi would come. In that case, if she was caught, she would suffer a fate worse than death. She didn't summon the purple vortex again. Instead, she fled to an even more desolate place. She tore open the ground, entered the ground, and began to recover silently. However, with her current state, she wouldn't be able to recover without tens of thousands of years. As for revenge, she was in despair. Lin Xian was an intruder. It was impossible for him to stay here for tens of thousands of years. By the time she recovered and went out, the other party would either be dead or had left. She couldn't even take revenge. This time, she was really miserable. However, she still had a glimmer of hope. That was the mysterious woman in the purple vortex would make a move. Until now, Yu Xian still didn't know who the earth immortal behind her was. Which level of heaven was it? She only knew that the other party was very powerful. Even if she was at her peak, she shouldn't be a match for the other party. This woman had taken away Lin Xian's information, so she should be attacking Lin Xian. This brat would die here sooner or later. Thinking of this, she felt a little happy. However, what followed next was pain and misery. After Yu Xian checked her injuries, she found that they were more serious than she had imagined. The immortal fire seemed to have destroyed all the meridians in her body. Damn it! She gritted her teeth, blushed, and began to recover. The 9th level of heaven. This was the last level of heaven, and also the most mysterious level of heaven. It was extremely terrifying, because there were many terrifying existences here. In a purple mountain, there was a figure in purple clothes. It was a woman. At this moment, the purple vortex in front of her slowly disappeared, and a message appeared in her mind. Then, she waved her hand, and the endless purple aura condensed into a figure. This figure was young and handsome. His eyes were piercingly cold, and he was in high spirits. If Lin Xian was here and saw this, he would definitely exclaim. The reason for that was because that figure was his figure. The purple-clothed woman was the mysterious land immortal standing behind Yu Xian. At this moment, she was still mysterious. Her whole body was surrounded by purple light, and it was impossible to see her face clearly. The mysterious woman in purple looked at the portrait in the sky and snorted coldly. The next moment, she waved her hand and split the figure in half. "Aunt, you actually ruined my plan of many years. Unforgivable. Someone, bring a team of shadow guards to the 7th level of heaven and kill this person." The mysterious woman's voice sounded in the purple mountain. Yes, a respectful voice came from outside the purple mountain. Then, a figure in purple armor quickly left. He was going to bring a team of shadow guards to the 7th level of heaven. Crossing the heavens and earth was a very dangerous thing. However, at this moment, the master had given the order, and she had to obey. Moreover, with the master's means, they could definitely cross the heavens and earth. The woman in purple had a cold expression. This time, the shadow guards would not be able to come back. She could send them over, but these people would not be able to return to the 9th level of heaven. However, she didn't care. These were all her servants, and she didn't care about their lives at all. This was only the first thing. Killing a little ant to relieve the hatred in her heart. Next, there were more important things. That was what she had been planning for a long time. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.